Gather around, freaks. I forgot to write something down this week. So this is coming straight off the dome. Are you afraid of what goes bump in the night? I'm not. Definitely not afraid of Bigfoot or anything. I fell down a flight of stairs one time and it landed on my head so hard that I saw a robot. Man, I gotta write these down. So gather around your internet campfire and gather around your internet radio because it's time once again for Hey, did you see this one?
There's something in the woods. Something between the trees. Something in the dark. Underground. Beneath the water. Something in the sky. But what could it be? This month, Hey, Did You See This One? Invites you to stare into the glowing green eyes of mystery, into the mouth of a fanged beast, to hold your breath as you break for the surface, because something is chasing you, and it might just be a crazy cryptid.
Oh my goodness! A new you edited the intro. Holy shit! Hello and welcome to.
Oh, you like the green? I didn't do
I
much.
like
Just
the
added a
green.
green filter over top of it.
I think you added antlers into it too, if I'm not mistaken.
What? Antlers?
Yeah, wasn't that?
Oh no, that was in the original. That's just another
Okay.
movie that we have on the list because I put in a few extras just so that I don't have to redo the video every single time we do this theme.
Right. Hello and welcome to Hey, Did You See This One? The weekly reaction roundtable discussion podcast where we just have to ask the question, hey, did you see this one? On this show, we take a movie, right, and we pull it apart and we leave no stone unturned, ultimately finding out if it is a movie you did see or didn't see. Nope, I gotta look at my notes sometimes. My name is Jason R. Phillips. I'm joined as always by my co-host, the co-host with the co-most, Stephen Boba Blackfly Waters.
Oh, that's me. Hello. Welcome.
And returning to the show for probably about the 7th or 8th time at this point. Welcome back, Ben Mason. Welcome back to the show.
Oh, thank you.
Only there was some way for us to applaud you being here. Oh, there we go.
How about a round of applause? That's right. It's you, and you're here, and we're going to talk about The Movie Exists. Before I get to that, though, this is episode 194. We're getting long in the tooth. We're becoming cryptids ourselves. If you're playing at home, it's season 3, episode 45. At episode 52, all will be revealed. It's going to be pretty disappointing for everybody. Not to telegraph it, but we are starting a new month. It's Crazy Cryptids Month, the month where we talk about cryptids, mythological creatures, mythological beasts, things that go bump in the night, scary monsters in the woods, scary monsters from space, maybe not this time, unless Antlers is from space. I don't know.
Woods, mostly woods, wooded areas, thick
Swamps?
tree
Some
parts,
more
yeah,
woods.
brush, as they say.
Brush.
Yeah.
That's right. This film is no exception. Last year we talked about Harry and the Hendersons. This year we're talking about Exists. I think that they shouldn't have put Bigfoot on the poster, maybe, and it might have had a little bit more impact. But you could probably figure out where they're going once they.
It's pretty early on in the movie that you realize
Yeah.
Bigfoot is coming from.
Yeah.
Especially because Brian won't shut the fuck up about Sasquatches constantly. But yeah. I think you're right, though.
I gotta say though,
I also wanted more of this upside down tree bullshit. That's how you know you're in Sasquatch country. If you ever see a tree upside down, that's how you know you're in Sasquatch country.
Well, we'll get to it, but they do have the upside down tree and the tree through a car, but we never actually get to see that.
Yeah, we do. That is in the movie.
The
not
tree
through a
is
car.
not through an
not through
upside
a car.
down car.
Oh yeah. True.
Yeah.
I don't know how a
Yeah.
Bigfoot would do that, but yes, you're right.
Also, the shot where it's just a in nature broken tree, and they heavily imply that Bigfoot somehow did that, like 9 feet up. Anyway, I think that we need to do some sort of brief synopsis here. I don't know if Zardos is around. Is Zardos here, or is it who's here?
Zardoz speaks to you. He demands you synopsize this film. Tell him how, why, who, what occurs in this film.
That's right. I didn't really ask anybody if they would prefer to do it, but Ben, since you brought this film to us, do you feel comfortable giving us a brief synopsis?
Oh yeah, totally. I mean, with Exists, directed by Edward Sanchez, what we really get here is your classic kids in a cabin in the woods movie. But it is 5 what are probably early 20-somethings, who really knows, heading to a cabin and encounter something in the forest that seems to be out to get them, maybe because of something they did on their way into the forest. It's a classic setup, and you can stick in whatever cryptid you want here, and it seems to work. It could be an actual like monster, it could be a witch, it could be a ghost, could be anything. But luckily here we get Sasquatch.
Yeah, and it is a found footage style movie. It's paced very similarly to Blair Witch, I found, and I think a lot of the I was reading some people's reactions to the movie online. One of the criticisms I saw was that it was a little too similar to Blair Witch without it being of the era when you could actually scare somebody by being like, this is real. Found footage films were very much there was already too many of them by 2014, so it doesn't have quite the same effect, but there were elements of this movie that
there was also a major you know the word I'm looking for.
Yep.
Stigmatization.
Astigmatism when your eyes are fucked.
For found footage movies at the time. So it kind of already had it was like knee deep in criticism before it would have even been released, right? Because it's almost like a curse at that point, where just being known as a found footage movie was it brought you down a couple of review points, even though there are some like gold standard found footage movies, in my opinion, that exist. There's so many that are just terrible. I'll say that like maybe 95% of them that I've seen are bad, and then there's like a very small percentage that I'm like, that's a good one, I would recommend that. And I'll talk more about how I feel about this movie as we go. Yeah, it's unfortunate that was the reality at the time. So I think that this movie, I'd never even heard of it until this week, you know? And I guess we can go into our brief histories. Yeah. You want to do that?
Yep.
Okay. let's go into our brief history.
A brief history.
So I'll just start. I didn't know this movie existed until it was recommended to do during this month of our weekly broadcasted roundtable review discussion show. Hey, did you see this one? And after watching it, I'm not surprised that I hadn't heard about it, but that's not necessarily a glaring review. It's just I can see how it would have got lost in the sort of ocean of found footage movies and wouldn't have floated to the top of what I would consider to be the best of the bunch. And found footage movies are, like I said, they're sort of panned just for existing, but horror is almost in a unique position to be able to capitalize off of found footage, whereas most other genres wouldn't be able to do it, which is why you don't really see them very often. And I know there was like a small sliver of time where GoPros were becoming popular in YouTube and social media. So people tried a couple of like fully first person perspective movies that, a lot of people vomited in the theater and passed out from vertigo, all those types of things. But you don't really see it very often in any other genre. And I think it's because it's claustrophobic and you can never tell if the camera's not pointed at something, you don't know what's behind them. There's a whole bunch of things that lends itself to the genre of horror, which is why you see it more often in that genre. But yeah, anyway, we'll talk about that when we get to production. But Ben, what about you? What's your brief history on Exists?
Well, I was surprised this movie actually got made, because I was a big fan of Blair Witch when it came out in '99. I saw it in theaters, but after doing like research after watching the movie, and keep in mind in '99 the internet was late '90s internet, it wasn't great, but I did find out that the Blair Witch Project was supposed to be a found footage Bigfoot movie. So here we are in what it was 2014 ish. Exists comes out, so I'm really excited. I'm hearing about this. I think it was on either Bloody Disgusting or Arrow in the Head. And Sanchez is back, and we're finally getting something related to what his original idea, which made him famous, was. I think we can all agree that found footage films at this point were very paint by numbers, and at the same time, I think this one kind of veered off that path. And yeah, there's a lot of similarities. Like I said, it's kids in a cabin in the woods. And yeah, we've seen so many Bigfoot movies, and yet most of them are terrible. But I fully believe that this kind of was a nice refresher in that genre. So I'd heard all this buzz about this is the movie that Blair Witch was supposed to be. And when I saw that it was coming out, I booked it to check this. And I personally was really surprised by it, and I've gone back to it numerous times. I do recommend it. Is it good? Is it bad? We'll get into that. But my history of that is so many years just waiting for it to come out, and then it actually happened. So that's me. Jace?
Yeah. So I remember it was at the end of you were on the show. We were kind of doing our post-show wrap-up where we just chat after, and we mentioned that we were talking about Scream. You're going to come on for Scream in October, but we brought up cryptids, and you were like, "Have you seen Exists?" And we were both like, "No, you didn't." I don't know if you mentioned that it was a found footage style film. You just said you should do this Bigfoot film called Exists, and then I put it on a list. Right, I just put it into the spreadsheet, and I kept looking at the name Exists and being like, I have no, like, I forgot what you had mentioned it was, and I had no clue what it was. And then I started watching it obviously this week, and I was like, oh yeah, and it kind of all flooded back. So I literally watched it this week. But when it comes to like found footage films, I've said many times that I couldn't handle horror until very recently. But the Blair Witch Project uniquely got spoiled for me that, of course, it wasn't real. Pretty much right after the movie came out, as we all remember. But then I was like, oh, well, it's not going to have gore in it. So I ended up watching it, and I didn't find it to be that frightening. It is it's a tense movie, but I can only imagine what people thought going in to see it for the first time when all the marketing was like this found footage put
The
together
marketing
into
for
a
that movie
movie.
was absolutely insane. Like I remember they had fake televised documentaries about the area and the Blair Witch herself, and like they were completely earnest in the way they presented it to you, where none of it was ever like been like this is a work of fiction. It was always just like, no, this happened. A lady murdered a bunch of children at a river in the year 1818 or whatever. And I remember watching this as a child, just like pissing myself with fear. Like I'm a little younger than you guys, so when I was seeing this stuff, I'm like, "There's a real witch. They found a real witch. What the fuck? It can't be real." And,
Yeah, so
turns out it wasn't. So I was pretty relieved. But I would say I saw not in theater, but I saw it after it came out, and I don't know, man. That movie legitimately frightens me. Not necessarily to this day, but I would say if you had to put Exists and Blair Witch next to each other, I would say that the Blair Witch still accomplishes its goal a little bit more, because this movie feels too clean, and like the GoPro stuff all feels like too high definition. But when you watch the Blair Witch, it legitimately feels like a bunch of people who don't know what the fuck they're doing in the woods with crappy camera gear, right?
yeah, so in between seeing that and then seeing this, a deluge of found footage movies would come and go. It would be parodied. It was in the zeitgeist as it got memed all to hell in early internet days, and on television when TV was basically where meme content was. And so seeing this now, I was personally surprised at how much it affected me on a fear level when stuff doesn't really scare me anymore. But it was just because it has this element of, we were talking about this on the pre-show, but with the Scream franchise, you have to sort of know horror. And for this movie, I saw this 5 archetypes of a Friday the 13th go into the woods, and I was like, they're fucked. And they have like the loudmouth girl, the stoner fucking horny guy, for the pretty boy, and like the just other girl, I guess, and the tall athletic guy. We'll leave it at that. And what ended up happening is I was like, do you know what I want to see now? Steve's not going to like this, but I want a found footage Friday the 13th done properly.
Yeah, maybe. I don't think it would
Well,
be bad.
I mean, that was something they've been working on for a very long time. That was in development hell for years. It was going to be a found footage film and set in the winter, so we'd see Jason in the snow.
I mean, that's
would
what
be
I want.
interesting
I
to
want
do.
to see Jason in the snow, but I don't necessarily want it to be a found footage movie. I think it's
It's
just
just freezing up.
it's a cheap workaround for horror movies, because it costs so little money, because a lot of the time they're using just natural lighting and in-camera technique to be able to film things without having to spend hundreds of thousands of dollars on lighting things properly. And you don't necessarily need, you can just have like 5 crappy cameras, and the fact that it's a crappy camera doesn't really matter because it's supposed to look crappy. Which is one of the things that kind of annoyed me about this movie, was that they were saving a lot of money on those costs. But
Do you want
I
to
figured they would
move
put some-
over to production talk, and we'll continue?
All right. Quiet on set. Are we rolling? Okay, let's shoot this piece of shit. Sound. Speed. Action!
I don't remember what I was talking about, but anyway, I think that the genre, I mean, it's not really a genre, it's a subgenre, I guess, but like, again, it's more like a medium than anything else, right? Like it's a deliberate visual style. It is technically a narrative device as well, because the way you tell stories in found footage is completely different than it would be in a typical narrative, right? Like you usually have a formula in which the story is revealed to the audience, and you can do things like have music and lighting and all these things that aid in your storytelling, where found footage is all of the information that's given to you is going to be through what's coming through the lens and what the people are saying, either off camera or on camera, reacting to their environment, right? So it's not necessarily the same. You're never going to have a moment where you get to see what the killer is doing alone, unless they're being captured by one of the 20 GoPros that this loser fucking put up in the woods or whatever. And
this has an issue with that too, where there are scenes that end like somebody cut it together like a movie, which I which was one of my gripes. And also, there are times in the movie where you have to make it make sense. Like they do these shots where they pan the guy's looking and pan across. So you can see there's GoPros like set up in a room or whatever. But sometimes it's like, did they forget to keep the camera on the person whose view we're seeing from, whose point of view we're seeing? I swear I saw one point where Brian was somehow in the shot, even though he's supposed to be filming.
There's
whole-
because he mentions early in the movie that he attached GoPros to everybody's bags, so like everybody has a GoPro on them. It's like a quick fix to that, where it's like, well, now we can have everybody being filmed because they all have GoPros now.
And the problem I have with that too is that the only way this will make sense, the movie that we watched, the only way this makes sense is if Brian edited all the footage together afterwards. But Stephen, go back to what you're saying with the GoPros.
Yeah.
I think that was a massive detriment to not just the film, but the budget, because they only used GoPros when they were filming stunts. They actually had a lot of really decent Canon cameras, and they downgraded the footage to make it look like a GoPro. So at that point, why not just use a GoPro?
Yep.
I mean,
I agree. And
it's the same effect. They just wasted part of the budget.
And like, I know that we're supposed to be like looking through an unlit cabin in the woods, the exterior of it, but like put a couple of lights, man. Let me see what's happening. Like I'm watching it in pitch black in my house with no light, and I still can't see what the fuck is going on. Like, it's not scary to me. It's annoying. I'm just being annoyed by the movie.
I watched it in a lit office, and I messaged Steve, and I was like, won't say anything about the movie, but I will say, watch it in as dark light as possible. Then later that night, you messaged me to be like, I still can't fucking see what's going on.
Yeah.
So it's like weird shadows, and then they make these weird decisions where sometimes the light will go up a little bit, or sometimes they're like, oh, now it's in night vision for like a few minutes. It didn't really hit as hard as it could have if you just. I don't know I don't know what the remedy is. Do you go and touch it up digitally to brighten it, or do you just have like, this lights, lantern fell over?
Put some fucking lights. It doesn't matter. We can suspend our disbelief to make it so that the shot doesn't look like shit. That's the fix is to put a fucking backlight.
Anyway. It's a Bigfoot movie.
Yeah.
Like we already know it's not real. Like give us something to work with.
We know the Blair Witch wasn't real, so you can't trick us again, Rodriguez. We're not stupid anymore. You got me when I was 8, but you're not going to get me now. But I just there's a lot of things in this movie that annoyed the absolute shit out of me, and one of them was the lighting. And like I was very thankful that they decided to film a bunch of stuff in the day, because I was like, is every time we see Bigfoot going to be at night? Because this is going to be really annoying for me to watch. And I will say the one successful jump scare that got me a little bit, where I was like, oh, was when the fireworks are going off and Bigfoot just like comes out of the smoke. Like, I was like, whoa, shit. Good job, movie. You got me.
But in the same scene, I found it goofy when they show Bigfoot in the daytime for that scene when he's running and it's like a man in a suit. I was like, that doesn't.
No, I liked it.
At the end of the movie, it looked really good because they clearly put a lot of effort into the costume for the close up at the end. But that suit that they use for when he's running in the daytime, I was like, it looked a little bit jank to me.
All right. Well, I disagree with you on that, but I think the rest
of the movie
that's
fair. That's
fine. With the Bigfoot costume itself, they had already cast the guy that played the Berserker Predator in Predators, right? So they had the body cast made, so they just threw the suit together in no time, and he was ready to go on day one. Yeah. I don't know, I don't think we should see as much of Bigfoot as we do. I think that's my big complaint in most Bigfoot movies is that it's not a real thing. I mean, I wish it was, is my favorite cryptid, but it always looks not great. Like there's something that look better than others,
Harry and the Hendersons looks great. Something that crazy animatronic head was like I like that a lot. But
Yeah, fair enough.
I didn't think
When it comes to comedy, it's different.
Yeah. I didn't think the face looked terrible at the end. And like, I was kind of getting really aggravated by the audio work throughout this movie. But I did like when it was kind of wheezing and like out of breath because it's been shot like 6 times. And it was like, and I was like, okay, the audio here is pretty good. And the fact that like he's sort of like also super injured and tired as well. He can't really super focus on it and he can't get it like a very good shot of it. I think it was okay.
Yeah.
Those things are not the stuff that like my major issues with this movie don't lie there. I think that when it comes to the suit, and I would say like the last like 5-10 minutes of this movie were pretty good. I was like, oh, this is you know, this makes up for everything else that I dislike so far up to this point. But I agree, like usually in a horror movie, the less you show, the better it is. But you know, I think showing the corpse and then all the other corpses and stuff, I'm like, this is all pretty effective, and like he's out of his mind. So like, you know, it was kind of all working for me, whereas the rest of the movie didn't work up to that point. But it's almost like it felt to me like this was his idea, right? It was like, I have an idea for a movie and this is the last shot of the movie, and it's going to be so great, and everything leading up to it is going to lead to this. And I think that was really strong, but everything leading up to that point I think was quite weak.
I had a couple really effective. My most effective set piece was them fleeing into the cellar and them like feeling him above them, and then him like breaking in, you know, like that whole sequence that shook me. And then the bit with the trailer, Stevie mentioned this to me earlier today, where when he jumps down, that should have been like the first time you fully see him. I think that would have been the most effective way to see his full body. And it was a really, I don't know, was it CGI or was that a stunt? Because it looked awesome.
It looked good. So I don't think it was CG, but I did say, like, you know, I think there are exactly 2 moments in this movie that I liked, where I was like, that's sick. I like that a lot. And that was one of them, where he jumps off the cliff and lands like, you know, sprawled on the open door. I'm like, okay, cool. And then when he's hucking rocks at them from the dark, it's like, I like that awesome. Just because it's cool. Just like a weird, it's just like a weird ape-like thing to do, you know, like an ape just like throwing really big rocks at you. That was good.
And the trailer rolling shot I thought was like really cool, because like they had to do that. Like they had to put people in some sort of rolling box with a bunch of debris inside and fucking mess them up. It worked for me. The things that don't work are what we've kind of mentioned already. Is just like the just black segments of just black screen. Like, come on.
Yeah. There was way too much of that. But I don't have a question for both of you.
Yeah.
When you watch this, did you watch it with headphones or just like regular TV or computer speakers?
I had headphones on.
Yeah, because I absolutely love the sound design.
Yeah, I had a problem with it.
The sound of the Sasquatch. I love the sound of the destruction. Really?
I think, it was towards the end where I started to have a change of tune, where I'm like, okay, I get it now. I understand what they're doing with the screaming. But when you first see it up until basically until the end, I found the sound that it made to be less frightening and more kind of grating, where I'm like, this is a bit piercing. I don't like this. Like, it's not scaring me, or making me unnerved. I find it annoying. I also hated how much I heard fucking Brian breathing the whole time. I get that he's holding the camera and he would be breathing, but I have an issue with hearing people's bodily noises like in real life. And so having to hear someone constantly breathing and like breathe talking super close into the microphone, I was like, I had to like fiddle with the levels. Like, I can't do
That's what I was going to say. I had to keep turning things up and turning things down, because when they're just like huddling, they're talking quietly, but then the monster will come and blast through. The sound level will spike, and you don't want to blow your eardrums, right? So, but I do like the sound design of the Bigfoot was good. I liked it a lot. The crying was especially effective near the beginning of the movie, because I don't know.
I thought so too.
Steve told me that Steve is a genius when guessing the little twists in movies. Sometimes, most of the time, I'm sort of a student of film right now, so I'm good at TV twists. I can guess TV, but I didn't know. I thought that the Bigfoot got hit. He was crying because he was hit, but he's like invincible. So the twist of there being the baby, spoilers for anybody who's waiting till the end for the reveal. But I definitely didn't see that coming somehow. The movie did a good job.
I didn't guess it at the beginning. I didn't guess it at the beginning, but I was watching with Danny and I was like, wouldn't it be cool if they ran over Bigfoot's baby? That would be such an interesting idea. And the reason Bigfoot is after them is that it's like his or her young was killed, and like that's why the Bigfoot is so upset. And then throughout the movie, they start to say things that then solidified that in my head, being like, is that actually what's happening? And then by the end, when he's like, I think we did something to it, and she's like, we didn't do shit to him. I'm like, oh my God, they did run over his baby. And then when you see the baby, I was like, vindication. Like, I guessed it by accident this time.
So I brought that up because Ben, was it telegraphed similarly for Steve for you, or was it like me where you're going like, why is this just like a slasher Bigfoot? It was just mad because they're in this territory and they fucked him up with a car.
I mean, it really could go either way with that, because like there's only ever, well, not only, but for the most part, there's just a Bigfoot. Yeah. But the way it was moving, the way it was running, and everything like that, you just have to assume that wasn't what they hit, and it did sound like mourning as opposed to pain for me. I thought it would have been the mate. I didn't predict the child.
Oh.
And honestly, I wish it wasn't, because I think when it comes to production values, that thing was horrible.
The baby,
the dead baby Sasquatch was. I thought it just looked terrible. Absolutely terrible.
I thought it looked fine. I don't think it looked any worse. Interesting. I didn't think it looked any worse than It's weird that you guys have issues with the shit that I had absolutely no issue with. I have like issues with so many other things, and you guys are like, the dead baby. I'm like, the baby looked fine. It didn't look any worse than the parent.
The baby looked like the remember on Fox when they had the autopsy with Riker like narrating it, and they did an autopsy on an alien. That's what the Bigfoot baby looked like to me.
I mean, I thought it looked like a dead monkey. So I'm like, whatever. But I think that retrospectively, for me, going back and then realizing like all those little moments where it's like, I thought you said that the Bigfoots were supposed to be friendly. I'm like, oh, that's the movie telegraphing that like Bigfoots are supposed to be friendly, but why is this Bigfoot being upset at you? And like there are puzzle pieces throughout that you can retrospectively put together to be like, oh, the movie was telling you the whole time that this Bigfoot isn't necessarily trying to kill them. It's trying to show them what they did. And because it doesn't kill anybody really until I guess it kills the woman at that one point. But it almost seems like it didn't. It was like it was just trying to get in, right? And it was grabbing onto something to get in. But yeah, because it does kill everybody eventually. But it feels like it's trying to just like teach them a lesson. Which you can't really fully grasp until you watch the movie in its entirety, which I guess is a positive about this movie, is that it is giving you enough to be able to solve that mystery as to what's going on. And it's not just a basic slasher film formula where it's a maniac in the woods trying to kill you. There's a reason there. And it is possible to figure it out before the end, which is, I guess commendable. Good job, movie. Yeah.
With writing, though, do you think we needed that twist?
I don't think so, but I do like the idea that the movie seems to like Bigfoot. Like the movie isn't being like Bigfoot's evil. The movie's being like Bigfoot is just as human as you are, asshole. You guys ran over what you thought was an animal, but you ran over something that meant a lot emotionally to another creature, and it came after you for it. So, the movie is saying something more than just like, it's a monster movie. It's like, it's not a monster at all. You may look at it as a monster because it's attacking you, but it's only attacking you because you fucked up. Because you guys were trying to burn your brother's beard or whatever while he was sleeping.
Oh my God. We'll talk about in a sec. What a weird thing.
I don't think we're actually talking about production. So why don't we just go into the body of the episode?
Well, I just have one question before we move on to the body. To Ben specifically. Do you know what the budget for this fucking movie is? Because there's no, it made in the box office and in DVD sales somewhere between 41,000 and 413,000, but I could not find out how much this movie cost.
I can guarantee you. Okay, this is how much the movie cost: 8 GoPros and a case of beer and sandwiches for a weekend. That's how much this movie cost.
Yeah. Well, we've been over that when it comes to the cameras, though. I think all of the money went to the cameras.
Joking. I kid.
No. Well, that's the thing. Like, I think that's where all of the money went. I don't really think these actors got paid much of anything. They already had the cast of the suit. They just added all the hair to it.
Yeah, and
I did as much digging as I could, and it was under $1 million. But that's the only number I could find.
It feels like that though, and like I'd never heard of this movie, so I can't imagine that the marketing budget was inexistent whatsoever. It's almost like they were reliant on the fact that like people love the Blair Witch, and people still talk about the Blair Witch Project to this day as like, again, the gold standard for found footage. Also the godfather of found footage, the thing that people immediately think of when they think of found footage, that is the Blair Witch. And the fact that this guy directed the Blair Witch, and when we made this movie, I was like, who the fuck is this guy? And Ben's like, it's the guy who directed Blair Witch. I'm like, oh, okay, that's pretty high praise actually. Yeah.
Well, with Blair Witch, it was what, like roughly $100,000 the budget in 99 numbers.
I thought it was less than that. I thought it was like wildly low, but I could be wrong. You might be correct.
Yeah, I remember people freaking out because it might have been less than, but I think it was around $100,000 and it made millions. But it came out with enough marketing behind 60K.
It. Okay.
60? Yeah. All right. Well, right before that was The Last Broadcast, which was a found footage film about the Jersey Devil. And while not great, it really should have been a lot more popular than it was, because this came out with that massive marketing campaign of, Blair Witch, this is a true story, this is a documentary. And I'm sure everybody who did The Last Broadcast was like, well, fuck me then. Like, what was the point of me even trying to do this passion project? I'm just going to get railroaded by...
They made up a witch. We're doing the Jersey freaking Devil over here.
It's real, man.
I was about to once again bring up that episode of the X-Files that's like cops, and I just had crazy deja vu.
Oh, yeah.
we can probably move on to the body.
All right.
Sure.
The body of the episode.
Hey, guys, did you know that since 1967, there have been over 3,000 Bigfoot encounters in the U.S. alone?
Did you know that almost all of them happen in the U.S.?
Yeah.
Globally? Yeah.
Nobody's really talking about the experts agree the creatures are only violent if provoked, which is a kind of the subject.
I wonder if there's film. Like because like causality doesn't necessarily mean coincidence, causality, and correlation are all separate things, but I wonder if there's a map you could make of the most uneducated areas in North America and overlay that with the most where the highest population of Bigfoot sightings are. Like when you see that map where it's like, this is where the most people go just vanish in North America, and then you overlay the map on where the deepest cave sinkholes are in North America, and it's almost like a complete they match up
Appalachia because there's so many cliffs and rednecks who will eat your skin, and skinwalkers. Oh, getting into a territory there, I suppose.
I might have offended somebody.
How are there experts on something that doesn't exist? And how do they agree if they don't have any proof?
The thing is that this is how I always feel. We used to have a co-host on this podcast, and he loved conspiracy theories, and he loved talking about shit that doesn't exist. And it was part of his charm, and I liked talking to him about it. But at the same time, human beings crave mystery, and they love to think about things that could potentially exist, but when it comes to evidence, absolutely does not exist. That's why people love aliens. That's why people love Bigfoot. That's why people love skinwalkers and ghosts and, dare I say it, angels and shit. People believe in things because
don't start that, man.
People believe in things because the unknown is terrifying, and it's easier to to let your suspension of disbelief go and think that maybe it exists as opposed to say that it absolutely doesn't, because they love mystery. They love thinking about the magic that doesn't exist in their everyday life. You know, you go to work and you're sitting in an office all day and you come home. Maybe you got to sit down and think about, what if aliens abducted me tonight, just to maintain a little bit of your sanity, to be like, is there magic out there that exists that I'm not privy to?
It's funny you say that, Steve, because, and you mentioned this earlier, why me and Ben might relate to this more than you. This movie, we both grew up in rural Nova Scotia, surrounded by forest, and I
think that was my exact text message to you. I'm like, I don't know, maybe it's because you and Ben grew up in rural Nova Scotia and you guys had to fight mooses for Klondike bars or whatever the fuck you guys did as kids. And you guys you like, the idea of Bigfoot is more of like a special thing to you than it is to me. Not that I don't like Bigfoot, because I've always liked the concept of Bigfoot, but I didn't live near wooded areas where I would stare out into the woods and imagine, ew, what if Bigfoot's out there?
the television program
In Search of Sasquatch.
Yep.
That was
right in the name, right in the song. But I remember watching that, and I remember watching Unsolved Mysteries and In Search of about aliens. And I remember, I'd be watching them and look out into my backyard, which was like pitch black, and all you could see was like the house lamp shining into the forest. And of course, as a 9-year-old, your imagination soars. But then also on top of that, I would go to Port George, where my grandfather lived, up on the mountain there in the valley of Middleton. And me and my cousins would go out and we'd play in a creek in the woods, and they'd start being like, oh, do you hear that? One of them would be like, I'm going to pee, and knock on a tree and be like, and I was fucking, my imagination was so large that I believed that Bigfoot was stalking us all afternoon in the daylight, right? So seeing this movie, and then Harry and the Hendersons back then, and then rewatching it as an adult, I glom onto this stuff. It really affects me in a weird way. So it's funny that you clocked to that, Steve. I assume, Ben, it might be similar for you, right?
Oh yeah, like there's so many times I just kind of walked out of the house and just went straight into the woods, and I just venture out and see what's around there. And this is before I was thinking about the fact that there are bears and like wild animals that can hurt you out there.
Yeah,
but then like hearing a tree snap and then like a rock rolling down the hill and like stopping near your feet, and like,
and then a noise going.
You just kind of like go back, because like you can't really explain it. It's nothing, but you're like, I don't really know. And then you start watching these stupid shows like In Search of, and like Unsolved Mysteries and things like that. Leonard and Nimoy.
Kicking out the jams.
That did happen. But it just, I don't know. Like whether,
but I mean, like, that's not to say that like
want to admit it or not, there's a connection there. And if
when I would go to cottage country and stuff when I was a kid, that's the first thing I would think of, right? Like we would be, as soon as we left metropolitan GTA and the trees got thicker and you couldn't see anything anymore. You couldn't see any houses. All you could see was forestry going out and out and out. That's when my brain started to be like, I just saw Bigfoot. I just saw Bigfoot. I just saw Bigfoot. Like that was as you're driving. I'm just like, there he is. There he is. There he is. And, like I would tell my sister that I saw Bigfoot and she would believe me. And then but I lied, obviously. But then I would change my brain into being like, I also believe that I did. But really, I just saw a log leaning against another log or whatever.
Do you know what's insane about that? At my school in elementary, we used to have something called field day, where like the whole like school grounds were set up into like different things. Like you go out and line dance at one quadrant, or like play a little game of soccer at one quadrant. But they would bring us into the auditorium and turn all the lights out and say, stare off like to where the stage is and let your mind wander. What kind of fucking liberal?
We never got that.
Far out hippie. I remember this so vividly because it happened a few times where they're like, now you're just going to let your own imagination trip you the fuck out. And I remember, you see, if you stare into darkness, you see like colors and stuff, right? Eventually. What an insane thing to make a bunch of kids who grow up in the woods do. They knew what
shooting elastics at you.
Ow! It's just your imagination. Keep staring. Imagination.
So fucking weird.
But
Watching
no, like
movies.
heading out into the woods and being like, I can't see anything, but what can see me?
Yeah.
Well, there's like that innate fear when you have a flashlight and you shine it into the woods and all you can see is the branches and the leaves staring back at you, and then pitch black beyond that. And it's like you can only see about 5 feet in front of you if it's thick enough. That is genuinely frightening, and like that's a good premise for a movie, right? Like, you know, what you can't see is frightening. What's looking back at you? But I think in a movie like this, you know, something like Blair Witch, it is, the tone of it is far more frightening to me. I think because there's like a magical aspect to it, or like a spiritual aspect to it that is beyond it just being an animal. There's something about like them being lost in this maybe time warp or whatever the fuck is going on in the Blair Witch Project that is slightly more frightening to me than a Sasquatch coming for you. Even though I feel like it's more believable that a big monster would be coming for you than a witch being like, I teleported you back in time. But like, it's for some reason more frightening to me. I don't know why. It's more psychological, I guess, where people are going crazy and like people are like running off with a map and stuff. Like that kind of stuff freaks me out a little bit more than just noises in the woods.
When they get to the, like after the opening segment where they're just kind of traveling, when they do get to the woods, it's night. And when they're going up the path, you do get a couple sequences that are them shining flashlights into the darkness. And I did kind of feel that
even before that, when they hit the original Sasquatch, that happens too, right? Like, and you can kind of, you're like, is there something there? And you see something moving and you hear the noises. But I do want to talk about the fact that these fucking assholes burn this guy's beard as a prank while he's sleeping.
What is that?
It's absolutely ridiculous.
Does this not feel like something that like, I said this to Jason when I was watching it. I was like, this feels like a prank like a pirate would do after like being on the seven seas for 16 months and he's bored. He's like, I'm gonna light Ted's beard on fire. Because like, who does that when they're bored? It like burns people's faces.
This is just I'll agree. It's poor writing. It's bad writing.
I also feel like
other pranks you could do.
I also feel like Brian could have been played by Charlie Day. This actor reminds me of Charlie Day a lot.
Originally, nobody liked these characters in test screenings.
I still don't like them.
I know, but imagine how bad they used to be.
They must have.
So when you get to the point where like, do we just cheer for the Bigfoot because we hate everybody else?
But the thing is like they're not hateable enough that you want the Bigfoot to kill them either. It's almost like I had no emotion towards them. So I'm like, I don't care if they die. But I don't necessarily want to see them die either. There was no part of me that was rooting for the Bigfoot, and there was no part of me that was rooting for them either. And I think that's one of the detriments of this movie for me, is that like they were all so unlikable that like I wouldn't care if they died, but they weren't hateable enough that I wanted to see them die either. So I just didn't care about them.
They definitely felt like
did you find that any of these people?
Sorry, you guys are both talking at the same time. I didn't hear what you said.
I was just gonna say they felt like a paint by numbers like slasher movie. Sorry, slasher movie cast. They felt like the cast from The Faculty.
Fair.
Just the five, you know.
Yeah, except the cast from The Faculty are interesting and better actors. What were you gonna say, Ben?
Did you find that any of these five people were believable as friends?
No, I didn't. That was another thing that was a detriment to this movie for me, is that I didn't even believe that those two were brothers, to the point that I was questioning whether or not they were brothers the entire movie. I'm like, are they brothers or are they just friends? Like, what the fuck is this dynamic? Because I think I might have missed some information. I think they're brothers. I think that was mentioned, but they don't act like brothers. They act like people who don't even fucking know each other, which I'm pretty sure that's what it was. These actors probably had no test screenings together, or like chemistry tests together or whatever. Like on-screen chemistry. It was just like, no, we're just going to throw them in and it'll be fine. They all just felt like they were pulled out of different worlds and put together into this van.
I buy Matt and Todd being like bros because they're both bro style characters, but they don't really even interact with each other that much.
There's like one scene where they interact where he's like, I'll go, and he's like, no, I'm better on a bike than you, bro. That's no offense. I'm just better at biking, bro. And I'm like, oh god.
Well,
Jesus
Matt
Christ.
seems like the honorable character, but he doesn't do anything really honorable except for when he's like, I'm gonna take my bike, I'll get out of here, it's faster. Like, well, okay, that makes sense. He's kind of thinking for everybody at that point, but like I don't see him as being friends with like the classic jock character of Todd. Like you said, Stephen, like him and Brian, I guess they're brothers. Eventually they just tell us that, but like you'd think you would stop your friends from setting your brother's face on fire.
Yeah, I wrote one of my first notes is first real jump scare is a car horn. These girls suck so hard. I hope they get ripped in half. They don't. Elizabeth dies by like just getting pulled. Like I think she had a skull fracture. I think that's how she dies.
Well, I think he's choking her. He picks her up by her throat and is just holding her or whatever.
Yeah.
You don't really see it,
she
but
ends
that's
up.
what I figured happened.
She's on the ground breathing, and then she just isn't.
Yeah.
Like
that's
the more we're
another
talking about this, the more I'm siding with you.
The thing is like when she dies, the whole time I keep saying out loud, is she dead? Is she dead? I think she's alive, maybe, but then like you figure out she's dead later when they're like they sleep all night with her corpse, I guess, and then they get up and they're like, we'll come back for her body in the morning or whatever. And you're like, okay, so she did die, but like there's never a moment of confirmation where you know for a fact that she is dead. And the fact that they're just even pulling her around. Anyway, we're jumping way ahead. We should probably just talk about this car arriving. They hit a Bigfoot. He checks the footage and he sees that they hit something. They can't tell what it is. And then they get to as he's looking at the footage, to us, we're like, oh yeah, that's clearly a Bigfoot that he's hitting. There's no question about it in my mind. He's hitting a Bigfoot. And then they arrive at the property.
Well, there's a fallen log on the road.
They have to get out of the car because there's a log on the road. And they walk through and we also skipped the fact that they buy a bunch of fireworks on the way. There's like a little moment of them buying fireworks,
which I forgot when the fireworks appear later in the movie. I was like, the fuck, do they telegraph that at all? But it's in the opening scene of the movie, I guess.
Yeah, I did not forget, and I was wondering why the fuck are they not shooting fireworks to like flares? You know, my whole thing with this movie is it's so poorly lit. Throw some fucking Roman candles out there, get some light in the forest, man. I can't see shit.
A Roman candle lighting Bigfoot would be so cool, I think, as like a shot.
That would be.
It's like coming towards you and Roman candle goes closer.
I have a feeling that they wanted to do that and they couldn't figure out how to get it to work. So they're like, we're just going to use them as signal flares at the end. Because like they probably had an idea of like Bigfoot chasing, like imagine like Roman candles like just whizzing by Bigfoot and you just catch glimpses of it. Like that would be really cool. But this movie, unfortunately, doesn't do a lot of cool shit. It has a couple of cool moments, but there's so many things that it could do that it doesn't. And
you were so ready for us to make you like the movie, but you're making Ben hate the movie. I'm pretty the same.
I'm not trying to. I'm just explaining my position, guys. Maybe I should have been a lawyer. Here's my evidence as to why this movie is a pile of shit.
Exhibit A. New Jersey accent.
Yeah. Well, I'm the Jersey Devil in a suit.
It's coming this fall to NBC.
Your Honor, I'm just a small town devil from Jersey. So they get to
devil's
the cabin.
Paralegal instead of advocate.
Yeah.
They get to the cabin, and it looks like many a cabin that I've been to in my life. The interior looks a lot like the cabin from Cabin in the Woods or The Evil Dead or whatever. Insert cabin movie here. It is atrocious looking inside. There's more leaves inside the cabin than there was on the deck outside the cabin somehow. But they also find a little piggy, a big hairy pig inside the cabin. And also I'm already kind of primed to be like, oh, I kind of feel bad for this Brian guy. I guess he's the fifth wheel in the situation because the girl in the back keeps massaging Matt. So you're like, oh, they're together. And like, you know, the montage at the beginning, you can see them sort of like kissing on each other. The other two are kissing and he's just there filming it all. But then he jumps on the bed, makes a giant dust cloud, and then starts jerking a flashlight off like he's fucking something. And I'm like, okay, don't like you anymore.
He's that character.
fucked up,
from
Brian,
every
yeah.
Friday the 13th movie. Great.
Oh, Brian,
also-
I wonder why you don't have a date to the cabin, Brian.
Yeah.
Maybe is it because you go up to women and pretend to jerk a flashlight off, you pervert?
We also find out around this time that they're
this
not
guy, you-
supposed to be there too. Like the uncle's like, do not go to my cabin. And they're like, fuck that. And that's why it's so run down because people haven't been there in it looks like 20 years.
I don't think we learned that till later, no?
Okay.
We learned that when they're like,
I have
they
to
realize
say-
the car got fucked up or whatever. I think like after that.
Brian, I could tell immediately, was going to be the only person with a character arc. Because
yeah, okay, go ahead. Sorry.
no, it's just like he's annoying, but everyone's kind of picking on him and shutting him down, but they're not doing it to each other. So immediately putting all the focus on this one character, and then you're like, oh, I kind of feel bad, like you were saying. And they does something like that.
Relatable.
And then immediately you take on the same perspective as the other four.
Yeah.
And like, this is actually, I think, intentional. Does it make me like him? No, he's
It
horrible.
makes me dislike him.
But I can see what they're going to do with him as the movie goes on.
Yeah, but they don't.
So I
really
think it had
do much,
purpose.
though.
It's just frustrating.
Yeah, they're showing that like there's a reason why he is alone, and there's a reason why people are picking on him.
Mhm.
He's an annoying character, and he's there because he's the brother of Matt or whatever, right? So he's just tagging along because they probably feel bad for him, but at the same time they treat him like shit. My issue is that like you learn this, but then there's so many more pieces of evidence that he is actually a piece of shit that I'm like, the movie is pushing too hard on him being a piece of shit, especially because I know that by this point he is the perspective character. We're not going to see him die first. It would be interesting if they killed him off and one of the other characters decided that they had to, become the filmographer throughout the rest of the movie. But I didn't think highly enough of the movie to be able to pull that off. So I'm like, he's going to be the one that survives. He's going to be the last one alive, probably. And
The final Charlie, if you will.
well, Danny at one point was like, I hope he dies first. And I was like, Danny, I hate to break it to you. He's going to be the only one to survive.
He's the cameraman
he's
in the found footage movie.
Yeah. He might die, but it won't be first. It's going to be last. And, that does prove to be true. He does not die and he is the last one alive, but he doesn't really have a heroic arc in any way. He doesn't do anything that changes how I feel about him throughout the movie. The only thing that he's there to do is have weird bits of exposition that are dumped and to be the commentary. Like he has to comment on what's happening to fill in any kind of blanks. Like if they were doing a test screen of this movie and people are like, I don't understand what's going on, they'll be like, write a note, have Brian say this at this point so that people understand what's happening. And that's kind of what he felt like to me, was just like, he's the perspective character, but his perspective is vapid and annoying and doesn't evolve throughout the movie. It stays the exact same. He doesn't have any kind of real growth. But I mean, I could be wrong. If you guys can change my mind on that as we talk through the movie, but
I think just off the
none
top
of the
my
characters
head-
grew. None of the characters had arcs. A lot of them were acting completely differently from scene to scene, where like, oh, this is the kind of arc that this person's going to have. Oh, wait, no, they're acting completely different to this scene from the last scene. So, which is realistic. That's how people are in real life. But you're watching a fucking movie. Like, you need to have consistency in order for people to be able to follow what the fuck's going on.
Off the top of my head, he does kind of have a
at the
little
same
bit
time,
of a heroic.
Give me a
moment.
Bigfoot movie.
He does have a little bit of a heroic moment, like right at the end, where like he puts the gun down and that makes the Bigfoot go away because
Yeah,
like
but who is he being heroic for? Everybody's fucking dead, Jason. That's not a heroic moment. That's a moment of self-sacrifice.
Yeah,
for
but he
no
could
one.
have blasted the thing in the face.
I know, but what I'm saying is like typically a heroic moment is a moment of self-sacrifice in order for you to show that you are you're lowering yourself in order to save people, in order to do something for the greater good. But in this moment, he's giving up. So
that's a good point.
I don't think that I would consider that a heroic
But
moment. I would say that it's a selfless moment because he's willing to not kill the Bigfoot because he realizes what he's done is wrong. But I wouldn't say it's heroic.
Character-driven cryptid films aren't exactly a thing. So
You ever
by
seen
what
Lake Placid?
measure are
Betty
you
White?
comparing this
Come
to?
on, baby. Yeah.
But seriously though, like look at all the Bigfoot films out there where you're like, Bigfoot is just kind of like a background obstacle that we're dealing with right now. But this movie is really about this guy named Jason. Like they don't really exist. They may one here and there, but I don't think anybody's wanting to watch a film about like a Bigfoot movie because they want to follow this character's journey through his encounter or her encounter or their encounter with a Sasquatch. I think people are there to see the horror of the interaction with this fabled monster. Now,
Harry
as
and
film
Henderson
fans, like we all
is
are,
kind of what you're describing, but that's a family fun romp.
exactly.
It's not
Now,
really a
with the three
cryptid
of us, I
movie
think it
as
makes
much
sense.
of
Cryptid family comedy is a very welcome genre for me.
Yeah.
But with the way we look at movies is different than the way that people look at movies when these movies are directed for those people, directed to those people. I think there's like a lack of awareness for the viewer who really enjoys movies about Bigfoot. They tried really hard with the Mothman prophecies, but I don't think anybody really sided with Richard Gere in that movie.
Yeah.
They tried, and I think that's kind of why the movie failed. They should have focused more on the monster. So I think when we're really concerned about believable characters or dialogue writing in that sense, when we're dealing with horror films of cryptids, we're kind of not really giving the movie a chance because it's never going to give us that.
I don't disagree with you. But when because like you look at something like the Blair Witch, where every single one of those characters is fully formed by the end of the movie, and like you understand who they are and you understand their attitudes towards one another and why they're acting the way they are to each other. Whereas, and that, like, you know, I've used the term already, the gold standard of found footage, whereas like the Blair Witch does an excellent job of everything that it's trying to do. Whereas I think this movie, I can forgive a movie for having unbelievable characters and me not rooting for any of the characters or going through a journey or an arc, as long as there's other things to placate me, to make me feel like I'm invested. But like, there's a lot of other things lacking for me in this movie where that is just another thing that is bringing the movie to a point where the ship is sinking. And I'm like, I'm not enjoying this. And there's nothing really for me to grasp onto. Like if Brian was funny, like if he was a very funny guy and was doing things that was making me laugh the whole time, then maybe that would bring it up a little bit. But there's moments where it seems like they're trying to be funny, but I'm like, this isn't funny. Like, oh, it's funny that he's lighting a joint. That's not comedy, guys. That's not a funny thing.
If anything, that's going to make what you experience through him even more terrifying, because now you're all stoned and a Bigfoot is attacking you. You want to dip your toes into Lake Placate, I think.
Maybe I should have smoked a whole shitload of weed before I watched this. I would have probably been more freaked
whoa
out.
Man, he's smoking weed and I'm stoned, which is a way that I used to watch films as a teenager. Wow.
And as a 20 ager and as a 30 ager.
Yeah.
So these guys go to sleep and Brian's up and he hears something crying and they speculate it may be the thing they hit. And I actually, at this point, I felt bad because I didn't know what was coming. And then it makes me feel even worse knowing what ends up happening. And the next morning they get up, they check the car, they find some fur, which is the trope of all tropes for a Bigfoot movie, I think. I think in every Bigfoot movie you have to find some bloody fur.
Oh my God, Brian was shaving his pubes on the front of the car again. Brian, you sick fuck.
Stop shaving your pubes.
He shaves his pubes everywhere. He's a regular Sasquatch. Sasquatch.
That might be a thing I write down.
Actually, you just said something, Jason, that made me be like, oh, that would probably be an interesting found footage movie. the thing. Like if like not necessarily like just like what are other sort of situations that a found footage movie would be cool in? And I'm like, oh,
Yeah,
the
The
thing would be
Thing,
cool.
yeah.
Imagine they had like security camera
Yeah.
footage and stuff, like interspliced between like the security guards have body cam for whatever reason. You've got a bunch of different, scientific research cameras and stuff. Like there's a whole bunch of stuff that would make sense for cameras to be in there. That would be pretty cool. Maybe we'll save that to the end and we ask like, what would you like to see a found footage movie done of? Because there's been so many, and there's a couple of good ones that I'd like to talk about later. But let's keep talking about this movie for now.
I also wanted. We didn't talk about a production talk, but it's not really a score. It's more like it's not melodic score. It's like the sound design of what the score would be. I thought was pretty good.
There's a couple of moments of music in this.
Yeah.
Which I think it's used sparingly enough that like, okay, that's why like they're not going to do it because it's found footage. It wouldn't make sense unless, like you said, Ben, like he fucking edited it all together and he's like, I'm going to put sad music at this part.
Yeah, exactly.
Because that's when all my friends died. Yeah.
But there was a score moment at this point where it started to make things feel kind of scary. And I actually made a note here about how this is before you said this to me too, because I watched it on 2 separate days. This reminds me of going to Port George with my cousins and them fucking with me when I was like 8. And then I think there's a random Wilhelm scream in the sound design, which I was confused about. Like,
I did not hear it, and I have like a
No, me
sixth sense
neither.
for Wilhelm screams, so I don't know. Maybe
Yeah,
I missed
I think
it.
it was.
But
I think it was Wilhelm Scream 2, not the.
I have
main
both
one.
of them burned in my brain, Jason.
All right.
They're both in all the Star Wars movies and all the Indiana Jones movies and all the Lord of the Rings movies and everything Peter Jackson and Steven Spielberg has ever made.
But did you guys find that when the kids are like having like that swimming moment, they go swimming that afternoon, it kind of just reminded you of like in Friday the 13th part 1 or part 2?
Yeah, it seemed
When
like
they
a
just go
modernized
swimming.
version of
Yeah.
like skinny dipping or whatever. And I didn't have a problem with that, but I do have a problem with GoPro footage. Like I don't even like watching people on their bike on TikTok and stuff. I scroll past those videos because like if I watch them for too much, I start to get nauseous. And well, this movie a couple times I started yelling like focus yelling at the TV like I'm gonna barf over here. What the hell's happening? My TV's too big for this bullshit. It was a little. He's supposed to be like an experienced camera person. He's got very expensive camera equipment. He's got a million
But he's
GoPros, but he just can't fucking hold still for the life of him. And you think that smoking that much weed, he'd have a steady hand. What the hell? So I was getting pretty annoyed with a lot of the camera work already, like before the movie even got to. Once it starts to get to, Bigfoot's around, I didn't mind it as much. But when he's just walking around doing stuff, I'm like, brother,
Well, I'll tell you what it is.
hold it still.
When he looks at somebody, like from his point of view, he doesn't look at them. They do the like found footage thing where he like looks past them, so they're like not in frame, and they do that too much.
Yep.
To hit home that it's
You're
found-
right.
It could be fine. It could be like he's good at this, and clearly they've called. I don't know why he's up there outside of just being a fifth wheel when he's like the camera guy. I guess he's up there because they want him to film them do paintball and do extreme sports on
He's
bikes.
he's the guy's brother, and he's probably like, we're going, and he probably was like, can I come too? And like, well, it's going to be a couples weekend, but I guess you can come. There's a spot in the car.
Feels bad for him.
Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly. He
we're
just
gonna do
doesn't have-
paintball. I guess you can film us paintball. And instead, you know what he does in this next segment? He films from the bushes.
Jason, hold on,
Todd
back
and
up a second.
Elizabeth.
I think that they care about him. They may treat him like shit, but they're not like, I guess you can come film us paintball, you fat fuck. He's like, what? I'm not fat. You shut up, you bearded asshole. We're gonna burn your beard on the way up, you pervert.
Listen, you're talking yourself into exactly what happens in this movie. So
I know, but like I'm sure they didn't plan it.
you fat bearded fuck, you're gonna burn your beard, you fuck.
And then we're gonna shoot you in the dick with paintballs in the dark, asshole.
Which they do.
We do.
This is
And then
really
one of them
just a
says-
documentary of abuse of this one character until Bigfoot shows up.
He's like, I love my brother and all his friends are so nice to me. Oh, you want to suck Bigfoot's big hairy dick? One of them says that to him at one point. I swear, right? Does that happen? Doesn't what's his name? Teddy or
Something similar, yeah.
Todd.
Yeah. He says he's like, why are you talking to Bigfoot? Hey, Mr. Bigfoot, can I suck your big wiener? So he says something like that, I swear. And I was like, that's so rude. And they had just made fun of him, calling him an 8-year-old, and then they immediately start acting like 8-year-olds. Ugh, frustrating.
To be fair,
They all act
though,
like children.
Yeah.
to be fair, Brian films the two of them having sex.
Brian's a
And
pervert.
also catches Bigfoot for a split second, which was a good, like, I like the daytime Bigfoot stuff when it's just for like a split second, because you can go back and look at the tape and it's clearly Bigfoot. So that's
Go back and look at the tape.
That's what I was thinking about for the end of the movie, because a lot of times in a horror movie all this shit will happen but there's no evidence. At least 4-5 people are dead and Brian survives and he has evidence, and also a corpse of a baby Bigfoot, really, that he could go get.
Yeah. Well, I need to ask you both a question about this too, because while he's filming the two like making out in the woods, and he catches Bigfoot running away.
He's watching them.
Why was Bigfoot there?
Yeah. Bigfoot was
he was also watching them.
But they don't really show that part, I don't think. But yeah, and then he just like runs away. He's like, "Oh shit! I didn't expect anyone to see me." And then
Bigfoot was having
books it back into the forest.
Bigfoot was watching, and then he saw Brian see
Bigfoot's having a big wank.
Was like,
Exactly.
trying to jerk it in peace. This fucking hairy asshole was fucking filming me. That's why he came after Brian. He didn't want his jerk off video to go online. That's the real story behind Exists.
Yeah.
The Sasquatch fappening.
Yeah.
That's how we find out there's Bigfoot. A video leaks online of just like
The Bigfoot OnlyFans page. Bigfoot is real. I've seen him on the net.
he would make $1 million in 3 hours, just like that latest one.
The latest one? I don't follow my OnlyFans fucking news like Jason does.
I'm a person on the internet who is on TikTok.
So am I, but I don't know anything about this.
Well, let's move on.
Yeah, let's move on.
You remember Lil Tay? She was like, she's kind of like Bad Barbie, where she's like, I fucking make all this money and I put on an affectation. Well, she was the latest in the put a timer up online, and then the second she turned 18.
Okay, right.
Okay,
I don't want to talk about it.
So anyway,
I don't know who Little Tay is at all, but that's gross.
She was a meme like 5 years ago. So that's gross on its own. Because anyway, he goes back and films some more. They talk about the uncle seeing stuff a little bit, and I think this does. Oh, I'm just alone. Hey, what's up?
Yeah, this is an intervention.
It's a reverse intervention where I just have to be faced with
you have
myself.
to confront yourself.
Yeah. So it talks about the uncle seeing stuff. We go to the nighttime. Brian's getting baked out of his tree, screaming into the woods. There was also a scene before this where Brian is like showing all of his lenses, which I thought was really funny. And they're like, come on, we're going to fucking do something. He's like, I'm just going to put all my lenses away. So
those were just GoPros. He was putting them into like waterproof containers and shit.
Right. Yeah.
It would have been more interesting if he was showing lenses, because then it would have shown that he knows anything about photography, but he doesn't. That's why the movie looks like ass the whole time.
So it really can just be blamed on Brian that the movie looks bad, right?
Yeah, I blame Brian, just like everybody else blames Brian for everything, including when they're like, I thought you said that Bigfoots were supposed to be friendly, Brian. Like Brian's like, I just read it in a book. I don't know.
Yeah. I know the same thing about Bigfoot as you.
Yeah.
But he's out screaming in the woods. The one girl comes out and's like, can you shut up? please stop screaming in the woods, you stoner. And then some
She's
time
way
elapses.
more pleasant than that. She says, "What
Right.
are you doing?" It's kind of like a nice moment. It's not like if it was me, I would have went out and be like, "Brian, shut the fuck up. What are you doing?" But she's like, "What are you doing out here?"
What they do.
Actually, there was one thing that I wanted to say. When he's looking at the Bigfoot footage of them hitting him on the car, he sees that they're burning his beard, and he says, "You guys burnt my beard?" And the like redheaded girl says, "Shut up, Brian." Like, she's like, "What the fuck?" But you just burned my beard. I caught you. And it's like, "Shut the fuck up." It's like, holy shit. This
Also,
woman
during
needs to
that
die.
actual moment in the movie, what they hit the Bigfoot, and he wakes up, and he's like, "Something's burning. I think the car's on fire." And I laughed out loud at that. I thought that was funny because his beard was burning. What a horrible smell you're creating in the car. Also, have you ever smelled burned hair before? It's awful. Idiots.
Oh, it's absolutely terrible.
Savages.
But imagine you pulled a prank on somebody that was so mean and rude, and they caught you, and then you told them to shut the fuck up. Like, you just yelled at them. Like, that's crazy. That is
And then 12 hours later, they hit you with paintball pellets in the night.
Well, she didn't do that, but yeah.
No, but that's
get
what
your
happens.
point.
That's what happens here.
Anyway, she dies first, so it's fine.
But they hear a horrible sound and they flee to the cabin. And I wrote, this movie may be better enjoyed at night before this next sequence of things happening to them in the night, and it's pitch black.
As you wrote that, I was writing to you on Messenger saying, "It's not."
Somehow.
I'm still not scared, even at night, and I can't see anything, and it's more frustrating than it is unnerving. I have like a huge window in my living room, and it's just like blasts light in there. So if I watch things that are dark, I just can't see them during the day. So I often don't really do stuff on my TV during the day until the sun goes down, unless it's super bright. And even in a pitch black room with all the lights off, I could still barely see what the fuck was going on in this cabin. Even though they have night vision mode, they've shown it. Just turn it on. Just fucking turn it on.
Yeah,
man.
I was curious about that too. Like, when do they decide to do that? It just seems to happen randomly.
They run into the cabin, they turn all the lights off. It's like as he runs into the cabin, the lights are on, right? So he switches from night vision to regular, and then they turn all the lights off, and he doesn't turn the night vision back on. So like logically it makes sense because he just forgot to turn it back. He's probably not looking through the lens or whatever. He's more concerned about the Bigfoot outside. But then he's sticking it through the window, and you can see the red light on his camera or whatever. Because at first I'm like, is that a fire? And I was like, oh no, it's the red light on the camera. And then, but he does it a couple times, and it's the reason structurally in the movie is because they want to turn it on to have a reveal, right? Like that's why they don't turn it on for the scene, is because they want to have them turn it on and have like a big like whoa moment, which it didn't. This whole. I know Jason, you said the sequence is like you liked it or whatever, but I didn't. It wasn't effective to me. I liked when he turns it on and then he's right outside the window. I was like, that's kind of cool, but like it didn't freak me out. It didn't do what its job was to be a jump scare. But like I'm so expecting it to happen that I'm like, there, yep, okay. And because there's no music or anything as well, they can't have that like ring. But like do it. Just subtly have something there to freak you out a little bit more. It doesn't have to be a musical sting, but it can be a sound effect jolt to make it more impactful than just like a roar outside a window.
Like showing the night vision of like the forest, I thought was effective because they just heard a noise nearby, at least. So
yeah. I mean, it wasn't for me, but like I don't know. Maybe I'm just impervious to the found footage effect now or something. But like again, there's a couple moments in the movie that did effectively get me where I was like, whoa, I didn't expect that.
Yeah, there are points when you should be using like the night vision, and the reveal of like the eye looking down between the boards, that's great. But when you get things like later on, which I'm not going to get into yet, but like when you're just doing it so you can see the person next to you that you're talking to, there's no point of actually having it on. Then it becomes for strictly the audience of the film. And if you're really paying attention to things like that as you're watching it, it completely removes any suspension of disbelief because now they're just catering to you. So you have to be so careful with this, and they really do drop the ball in this movie.
A simple fix would be like, oh, I have this night vision, let's pop it on and mess around with it or something. Like, he has so many cameras, why doesn't he just have like a stupid, like, Tom Clancy night vision camera he got from his uncle or from a army surplus shop or the internet?
Well, the thing is, the cameras all have it on there. So like, if he's in pitch black, you would turn it on as a flashlight of sorts, right? Like, you would be, because I used to have like a little DVR camera, and like, if you're in a pitch black room, you can turn on the night vision and you can use it essentially as night vision. Like, you can use it like a night vision goggle, and you'd think you would do that. And the thing is that like in this, it doesn't seem to be true night vision, because when you film people in night vision, they look fucking ghoulish. Like, if you get too close to someone's face, you can see like the veins in their face and shit. Like, it's actually kind of legitimately frightening. So it's some sort of muted version of that. But yeah, I mean, you're right. It's like it's there as a tool, right? Because we're watching a movie, and they have to try and cater to the limitations of what the narrative is, which is like, it wouldn't make sense for the GoPros all of a sudden to have night vision like the ones that he set up stationarily. But like, he said he set them up all over the woods, but you only see one. You see the one that he put up outside the staircase, and you don't see any others until the end, where there's inexplicably one set up inside the fucking RV. Which is like, they didn't know that was there.
Yeah.
He didn't put that. Why is there one
Exactly.
there? Yeah.
Stumble upon it. And then it goes back to what you were saying before about the fact that he would have had to have gone back, collected all of those cameras to edit all of the footage together.
Yeah. I don't really mind that so much, because it's like, this is more like the ghost of us. We are the ghost watching this footage is able to switch to whatever camera we need to or whatever, right? I don't mind it as much. I mind more so when it's like they have that one set up as like a security camera, and then we have this long shot of the Bigfoot going up the stairs, and it's just like, it's so pitch black that you just see a lump, and then you see a lump again. I was watching it. Danny was like, why does Bigfoot look so short? And I'm like, I think it's just because it's so dark you can't see the rest of his body. You can just see like the head.
It's weird. What I watched, you could actually see it quite clearly.
Maybe it's the version I watched, but
like, that was one of the scariest parts of the movie for me.
Do you own it on Blu-ray or DVD or something?
I do, yeah.
Maybe there's something to that.
I found the light for.
Yarr, you guys both.
I sailed the 7 seas for it, but I did watch it in 1080p, and it's still like, I don't know, the dark scene. I
watched the same version Jason watched, and Jason and Danny watched the same version that Jason watched. So you might have a better well lit quality version than what, because like I was having some problems over here, but I couldn't find. Actually, you know what? Danny didn't watch the same version. Danny found it on Tubi. So Danny watched it on Tubi. I watched the version that Jason sent me. So I watched.
Actually, that's interesting you say that, because Canadian Tubi does not have it, but I switched VPN at work and I was able to get it on Tubi. But I found it, and I was like, it might be easier to watch like at my own leisure and not have to put on a VPN. But if it, it might have been the version that's just pulled from Tubi, which is a streamer. So maybe there's something to the DVD version, because you're saying that those dark moments aren't as bad, I guess.
Oh no, like the dark moments that you're both complaining about up until this point are absolutely atrocious. I agree with you completely.
Yeah.
But that one shot of Bigfoot going up the front steps, that really caught me off guard. I could see things very clearly there, and I thought it was really effective. So it's just really unfortunate, because there is some good filmmaking here. It's just the bits are few and far between.
There's when they're in the cellar, there's like a digital lighting effect that's added or something, where I could see everything in the dark that was going on. But there was any time that they were out in the woods, especially, and it was nighttime and they were like running without lights, it just was like black blob on black blob. You know what I mean? So
I got that too.
Okay, that's good to know. the next morning at early daylight, at the crack of dawn, they go to check out the car. They go to see the
I
damage.
assume they did not sleep, right? And they probably were just
Right,
waiting
yeah.
for the sun to rise.
They were like, "Oh my
Let's
god, what
fucking
just
go."
happened?"
Yeah, oh yeah.
And they find it's like kind of like a Range Rover or like an SUV, and it has a log smashed through it. So that's what I'm saying about the poster. They sort of melded together when they find the tree stuck into the ground, and this scene where there's like a log just through the windshield. They kind of like melded those together to create an artistic representation of this sequence, I think.
Yeah,
But-
I mean, movie posters are almost never a thing that happens in the movie. Same with video game box art.
Yeah.
Same with any, like, what the fuck do you expect?
This is like the Mega Man 1 for Nintendo version of it, though. Where
Yeah,
it's completely
but it's like-
just wrong.
Yeah.
Or just like think of like any
Complete
Final
lie.
Fantasy game when you're
Yeah.
a kid, you'd pick up the box. You think it's gonna be beautiful watercolor imagery in the video game? No, it's gonna be a bunch of like,
So-
like, there you go.
In the film, did you find that scene with the log through the windshield and the car just like ripped apart? Did you actually find that effective, or did you just feel like it was a plot device? Because I thought it was quite good.
So there's a
thought it
moment
was
in the
effective.
night where like he opens the window and you can hear him fucking the car up, and I'm like, he's fucking up their car. He's making sure they can't get out. And Danny was like, "What?" I'm like, he's doing something to their car." So I was more excited to see what Bigfoot did to their car
Me too. Yeah.
than anything else, because I was like, I for some reason I was picturing Bigfoot like jumping on the top of the
Yeah,
roof.
right.
And, like, I thought it was gonna be like pancaked down, but I did not have this poster art yet in my brain, so I didn't expect a log to be right through it, like skewering it, which it's kind of good. But I was I thought the same thing they thought, which I appreciated in the movie, was like, I'm like, you could probably still start that, right? And they're like, start it, see if it starts, man. See if it starts. I'm like, yeah, that's exactly. I would be like, we can drive with this thing in here, guys. Don't worry. Just pull the log out. and
It
we'll
starts
make
up
our way out.
immediately, and then credits.
Yeah. Yeah, the credits come up and it's like, there was some scientist trying to figure out the Sasquatch riddle.
Did you think that having Sasquatch be as intelligent as it is in this movie was a detriment or not?
No, I think that
No.
dumb
Because it
Sasquatch
seems
would
to understand everything a little way too much.
It has Jason Voorhees
little way too
powers.
much. Yeah, it
but,
has Jason Voorhees powers. It can go through the forest as fast as it wants to. It also knows to like break Matt's legs. So even though one of his legs has a compound
Right.
fracture, he breaks both of his legs repeatedly.
Listen, animals know that. Animals know that if you fuck a leg up of a creature, it won't be able to move. Like, that's not a dumb animal. Animals are smart. Like a cat, for example, knows that if you bite something in the neck, it will die
Right.
faster. So they
I was
go
going to
for the
say
neck.
bite the neck.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
I don't think it was a
and-
detriment.
And I think that we can
I
imagine
like
that
it.
a Sasquatch is probably the smartest creature on Earth outside of a human being, right? Like if Sasquatch exists in the realm of, how we think of it as a cryptid,
Yeah.
there are people who believe that Sasquatch are more intelligent than human beings. Which I'm like, they haven't figured out, the compound razor yet, so I don't think so.
I just realized something. We've actually done another Bigfoot movie, name of Missing Link.
Oh yeah,
from Leica.
you're right. I thought you were gonna say Hook with Robin
Oh,
Williams.
yeah.
I'm like, no, that he's just hairy.
Yeah.
Uh,
We've done a couple Robin Williams movies at this point. We did Jumanji as well. So those two movies as well, technically. But the Missing Link could speak English, so I think that's on a different level. But you're right. Like, it probably goes humans, Bigfoot, dolphins, right?
and then Canine with a
Then octopus.
Then octopus, yeah. Yeah, but octopus are alien.
But yeah,
But
even things
also,
like throwing
octopus
the
isn't
bike.
on the ladder. Octopus is over here. It's like to the side. It has other powers that we can't even comprehend.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like apes can use hands and feet. Chimpanzee hands and feet. Dolphin flippers and tails. But octopus, you got 8 appendages. Imagine the brain power it takes to be able to like come at you with 8.
Yeah, and
things.
also turn to like flat matter to go
Fit
through
through
the
keyholes.
smallest place.
Yeah,
Exactly.
I can turn into Jello if I need to. That's how all octopi sound, by the way. Hello, I'm an
Hello.
octopus.
Hello.
This is when we find out that that Brian and Matt's uncle didn't want them to be here, so nobody knows they're up there. Classic trope, classic horror trope.
Yeah.
But they have bikes, so
It is a
how about
classic horror
this?
trope. It's also a classic horror trope for one person to freak out so hard and get mad at everybody. But then all I could think about is like, did you not tell anybody where you were going? What about this
Yeah.
other guy and this other guy and this other? Like, you're blaming these two, but the three of you
Yeah.
didn't tell anyone where you're going at all. That seems like it's on everybody at this point.
I don't
in my
know. That's kind
opinion.
of believable if like these five
That's-
people are going away and they're the group of friends, which is kind of the vibe I got. That's why they
Yeah.
brought
Like,
Brian
they have
along.
no
They're
other
like,
friend. What about their
"Fucking Brian."
jobs? I guess maybe if they're just going in for the weekend. I don't know.
I've never told my job where
Yeah.
I'm going.
I
outside of-
personally would probably be one of the people who's like, no one knows where I'm going, but I feel like
Yeah.
there would be at least one person who told somebody where they're going, right? I'm going to a cabin in the woods over the weekend.
Yeah, but that needs an address, right? You can't be like, I'm going to Steve's uncle's cabin,
I mean,
and my
what
friend's
my-
not going to know who your uncle is or where
Sorry,
they live
or who
My
Steve
po-
is, or
my point is
or who
that
Steve is.
my point is that they're blaming those two for the
Right.
whole thing, which is like, no, you guys didn't
Yeah.
also didn't tell anybody where you're going, so like, sorry,
Yeah,
but
it's a plot hole.
it's on everybody here. Yeah,
and then
it's not a
Matt's
plot
like,
hole. It's just them being assholes. They're just being assholes, and they shouldn't be as mean as they are. They're blaming two people for the whole situation, which they shouldn't be doing. They're elevating the tension for no reason.
well, let's elevate it further because Matt's like, I'm the fastest bike rider, and I know these woods here.
I'm a BMX
So-
champion.
Yeah, so I'm gonna go to the route
Brad.
highway 212 or whatever.
The M in
And-
BMX stands for Matt.
Yeah.
I'll be back.
I also want to point out that the two times they go off the path, it's clearly where the Bigfoot lives. And we do find that out when they find his hole. But both times they're like, "We
Bigfoot
can
hole
keep
was my
going."
nickname in high school.
Ayo. Both times, the first time he goes and he's like, "Oh, well, I can take a shortcut out this like off the beaten path," and then later in the movie, the same thing happens where Brian's like, "Oh, I know these woods. We can just go down here. And it's faster." And that's when they find all of the Matt's helmet and his blood and his, But when the kids go back, the remaining kids go back into the cabin, they start preparing for war. They start
War.
preparing for zombies. Closing off all the windows, putting all the furniture against the windows. They find the cellar at this point too, because if that carpet was never like just pushed to the side slightly, they would never find that cellar.
That was
Perfect
another
plot
moment where I
armor.
was
Everyone's
like,
dead that night.
Yeah,
as soon as I saw the cellar, I was like, "Oh, good job, movie. Remind the audience of a better horror movie." But like,
Yeah, exactly.
obviously, a spooky cellar
Exactly,
is a fun thing. But as soon as I saw it, I was like, "Oh, I should watch Evil Dead." That's what I thought, because I wasn't
Well,
having a great
Bigfoot-
time at this point. So I'm like, it's a better movie than this.
Dead Before Dawn,
Dead Before Dawn.
Bigfoot gets into the cellar so easily that like they don't stand a chance if they never find that cellar. Credits. Matt also is dead. I think he gets Matt and then goes to the cellar, if I'm not mistaken. So
Yeah, because they're waiting for Matt to come back, and then the bike comes flying at the house.
Yeah.
Bike.
they find the cellar. Then
Which I
Matt
thought was fantastic.
which was that was great. We'll get to that in a sec. But
Yeah,
Matt
I liked
gets
bike toss. I was like, ooh. So, but at the same time, I was like, we didn't see Matt die though, so he's probably not dead. He's going to be in some Hills Have Eyes situation where the Bigfoot has kidnapped him, and we're gonna.
Well,
find
they
Matt.
didn't, but after they see the cellar, it goes right to Matt, and he gets attacked. And the prediction that I did make, my superpower is to know when there's going to be a compound fracture. When I started this movie, I said somebody's going to get a fucking compound fracture,
in a
and I'm
horror
going to
movie.
hate-
Jason, are you serious?
and I'm going to hate it because it's the worst
That's
injury
absolutely
to
ridiculous.
look at.
Yeah. I can't believe you would assume such a thing.
Right. But you know, he tries to like get back to his bike, and like they do a lot of work with assuming how much pain the human body can take, especially when your bone is outside of the
I
skin.
will say, I think that Matt in particular, he did an okay job of seeming like he was in a lot of pain.
Yeah.
Like, that actor, whoever the fuck he is, I don't know if I've seen him in anything else ever, but I do think that when he was yelping in pain, I was like, oh yeah, that's a good. He's like doing it like a dog would, you know, when you step on a dog's tail or their toe or something, and they're like, yeah, like yelp, like every time he was doing like a yelp, and I'm like, okay, yeah, that's probably how I would react.
This is also the scene that I was referencing earlier, where like he goes through all this shit with the Bigfoot, and then when the scene ends to go back to the cabin, it does like a fade out like wipe. It took me right out of it for a minute. I'm like, what in the fucking movie making hell is this? Why did Brian after the fact like put this together? So he crafted this moment in such a unique way. It's like I wrote it's like the person who found this footage made it into a movie for commercial use. He's showing this shit at fucking con and Sundance.
Like, this is how my brother and all of our friends died. Big feet. Got him.
This is gonna be opening night at TIFF for sure.
Yeah. Ironically, this movie probably played at TIFF.
That probably did.
Yeah.
The greatest found footage film since The Blair Witch, directed by The Blair Witch. That's what. What's his name? Rodriguez.
Eduardo Sanchez.
Eduardo Sanchez should just change his name to Blair Witch so that every time he directs a movie, it'll be directed by the Blair Witch. That's what I would have done. So the Blair Witch directed this movie. Yeah. Because that's basically what he's like. People probably are like, wait, in a corner. Yeah, this guy directed the Blair Witch? No, like the Blair Witch directed this movie.
Yes. I think that we can end this episode here with that too, because it's this Blair Witch created by Blair Witch. Back at the house, the Bigfoot goes back and tosses the main guy's bike at the house. Crazy.
I liked it. One of the few moments in the movie that I was like, good job, movie. You did something good. Which is
so violent.
Well, I just like that the Bigfoot is like, I'm coming, motherfuckers. Like he's like letting them know, you know? Like, yeah. Which, you know, it goes to show, like you guys were saying, like, are you upset that do you think it's detrimental that the Bigfoot is intelligent? And I'm like, no, I think it's good that the Bigfoot is more intelligent than what we know of like gorillas or chimpanzee. Like it should be more intelligent if it's been able to hide for this long from humanity and successfully so, and live in legend and seemingly close enough to human civilization that it can somehow still stay hidden. And the fact that this Bigfoot's like, I'm not fucking around. I'm throwing a bike. I'm coming. You guys better prepare. Set up some Kevin McAllister traps because I'm coming tonight. Throws the bike at the house.
All three forms of transportation in this movie are destroyed.
Yeah. You're not getting out of here alive.
Legs? Is that the third one?
Fourth. Actually, I guess technically that would be third. Yeah. I was thinking about the camper, the trailer.
Oh yeah. The campers. Does the camper have the truck part on it, or is it just a camper?
I think it's just.
I guess it's still one of those.
I didn't expect you to go that far on that.
Look, we're already looking at this movie with too much intent. So the fact that I called you on legs, that's par for the course.
I think that legs is very funny. It's like all forms of transportation: bikes, cars, legs, destroyed.
Yeah,
eliminated.
Yeah,
I confusingly eliminated. When they're all like, when they're preparing, I was talking to Danny, and I thought it would be funny if the guy was like, everybody take your shoes off. I needed to see your feet just to be sure that you're not one of them. like it turns out that Brian's just like a weird foot fetishist. Yeah.
I don't know. I won't.
It's actually the blood test from the thing.
Yeah, I watched it. Sinners has a thing like that in it too. I watched Sinners today.
but Steve hasn't seen it, so I won't talk about it. Ben, have you seen Sinners?
Not yet, but I'm very excited to check it out.
It's fucking awesome.
It seems like
I
it's
also
right
watched
up my alley.
I also watched Arcadia today, which is fucking awesome. It's a Nick
Arcadia, I
Cage
don't know.
movie. It's a post-apocalyptic Nick
yeah.
Cage.
Oh yeah, yeah. I have seen that.
Yeah.
I
Obviously,
watched The
very notable
Sorcerer's
for me.
Apprentice last night after watching this movie.
The Sorcerer's Apprentice. Wow.
Yeah, Nick Cage.
Yeah, what a
He plays a sorcerer.
strange
It's not great.
palate
I needed
cleanse.
me and Danny were watching The Sorcerer's Apprentice after watching this movie, and we were both like, "Is this movie good, or are we just so happy to be watching something that's not terrible?" we were like the shift in tone, but then I started to realize that The Sorcerer's Apprentice is also a big pile of shit. Like halfway through, I'm like, "No, this movie's bad." I just like watching people shoot wizard bolts at each other or whatever for a couple minutes at the beginning.
I was wondering if we can go back a second because we talked
Yes.
about Matt being like chased down and like knocked off the bike and his legs being broken. What did you guys think about actually like the shots of what would be Matt looking off to the side and just seeing the Sasquatch running through the woods alongside him and actually like catching up?
Mhm.
I thought
I thought it was
effective.
incredibly effective.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I liked it. Like it was a very tense. There's very good tense moments in this movie. If you have to suspend your disbelief filmmaking wise, but
Yeah.
this next sequence too also affected me in a similar way, where if you just think about what the people are like from a horror aspect, use your empathy with them. The riding as fast as you can on a bike
Mhm.
thing, because he's a good cyclist. Seeing this shadow of a monster fucking just gaining on him so easily, really, and then he wipes out,
Yeah.
and then he's like, oh fuck, and he looks down and sees the compound fracture. Fucking, that's good cinema. Like, if this wasn't a found footage
I think so.
movie, I think that sequence could have been like awesome.
So that's what I'm
Even
saying
better.
is
Yeah.
that I think that the execution of it was fine in terms of a found footage movie and having to work with the restraints of the only camera you have is on Matt. So you're not able to really show different angles and show perspective and make the monster look massive. So to me, like, it didn't look bad. I just it wasn't as effective as I think it could be. As if we were watching something that's shot more classically cinematically, you could do some really crazy things to show how powerful he is. I do like that, like, he's going as fast as he can and it's gaining on him. Like, that's cool, but at the same time, the idea of it is cooler than how it felt in the movie to me. And like, you know, again, I didn't have any tension here because I didn't care about Matt. I didn't give a fuck if he died or not. As soon as he starts getting the call, that's when it becomes more exciting. I'm like, oh, he got a signal, cool. But then now my brain is like, okay, Uncle Bob is aware now. So now my brain is more interested in Uncle Bob. And I'm like, Matt can die and that's fine. I don't give a shit. So like, I wasn't feeling what the movie was wanting me to feel. And because of that, I was like orbiting away from it, where I'm like, okay, Matt can die and it'll be fine. And then when it cuts away before you see Matt die, you know, if they did a thing where the GoPro slides across and you see Bigfoot just like, like Donkey Konging on him or something, then I would be like, holy fuck. But they don't show that. Even if they did it on his legs, so that when later you see his legs are all fucked up, but like, even if they were just doing it from a weird angle where it's like the top of Matt's head and he's like, ah! And like he's smashing the legs or something, then your brain would immediately be like, oh, he died. Whereas like, because they cut away, again, my fucking movie brain is like, we didn't see him die, so he's probably going to be back. So now I have this thing in my brain where it's like, they're going to get to a point where they find Matt. And I'm like, I'm writing the movie in my head rather than just like allowing myself to live in the moment of what the movie's trying to do, which is make me feel scared for Matt, which I don't. But I did like the addition of Uncle Bob as a character. I'm like, okay, Uncle Bob is going to show up like Tommy Jarvis at the end. Like, all right, we got to take out this Bigfoot. And, you know, again, that does happen, but not as satisfying as I would have liked it to be. So I don't know, if I had to like rate that sequence, I'd be like Jason said, if this was a more traditional cinematic experience, I think that scene could be really crazy. But even within the confines of what they're trying to do in this movie, I think there are more interesting ways to go about it, which I think I I illustrated with like showing him doing like a Donkey Kong smash on the legs would be something that would make you think more that he was dead. But you know, I assumed he was going to be alive, and he was. So yeah, I don't know, not as effective as it could be, but I didn't have an issue with it at all. I think it was like they did what they could. In hindsight is 2020, my friends. They probably watched that and thought the exact same thing I just said. Like, you know, it would have been crazy if we saw the legs getting smashed up.
I like the idea of the GoPro going flying. And
yeah,
then
and it's like shot
just
from like
getting
the top
the
of his
whole
head
scene.
forward, and he's like flailing around as it's like smashing, and it looks like it's smashing his body, but it's actually just smashing his legs. But you can't tell that because of the perspective of the angle. Like, they could do something cool like that. But I will say that the moment immediately after where the bike flies at the house, I like that a lot. I'm like, yes, good, very good. Bike toss is good. No notes.
What about you, Ben? You said it. You said you thought it was effective.
Yeah, I did, and I do. I don't really think like while seeing like Matt's legs being broken would be interesting. I don't think we really need to see that.
I don't mean
sure
necessarily show his legs getting broken. I just mean show the monster beating on him from an angle that would make it more solidified in our heads that maybe he is dead, as opposed to just nothing.
It's also he broke his leg from wiping out on the bike, and then both of his legs are broken when they find him in the cave. So I see what Steve is saying as well. Yeah.
Yeah, of course. But I'm also saying things like we later find the bicycle helmet with blood on it. So they imply that actually happened. So you don't need to see it for it to be effective. Like I see that as almost more of a hand-holding technique. So you're following it step by step by step by step and not allowing yourself to piece things together. Unfortunately, for the way this movie was made, Steve's correct. And that you know exactly what's going to happen with Matt. But I feel like
I would call
that's
that more
a mistake on their part. You don't need to see everything. Go ahead.
So I was going to say it's more like from what I proposed as an alternative to that sequence is an additional misdirect. Because the way the movie is structured, I already assume that he's not dead because we don't see any violence being perpetrated onto him. Whereas if they showed even just a split second of it, my brain would be like, oh, maybe he is dead. But there's not a single moment where I thought that he was dead. Even when they find the helmet and his backpack and stuff, the fact that his body's not there, I'm like, well, he's not dead then. Like, unless you see something happening, you're going to assume that he's alive, right? Which is like even the girl when she gets choked in the next scene. I can't remember what her character's name is, but when she gets choked and stuff,
Liz,
and the fact that they keep kind of like parading her body around, I still was like, is she dead or not? Like, you need to tell me. You need to show something more for me to know if she's dead or not. And I didn't mind that as much, but yeah. Anyway, sorry. I just wanted to like defend my my perspective for a second.
No, you're completely right, and I agree with what you're saying. In that, I think it's just we had different perspectives, like what we appreciate, different appreciation of the scene. But I feel like I was okay with it more so because it was such a low budget. And if they had a higher budget and then did the exact same thing, I'd feel like it was like a major cop out, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
I was more so thinking like maybe they didn't have enough budget for special effects, so we just kind of go with that. But then I also see the errors in that theory because they do kind of go all out on things that didn't really need it. So maybe I just want to like it knowing that it's not great.
Yeah, and I mean, I kind of hate doing like the rewrite thing where we're like, what would have made it better, and like let's see, let's pitch our idea for how this could have been a better sequence, because like obviously the movie's been made and there's no point in us even talking about it. But I'm just like, you know, if you think about like other things you could do, like you don't even have to show the ape hitting him. It could be like a log. The thing flies over a log and you just see the hands coming up and you hear the guy screaming and the noise of the crunching or whatever, right? And then like one final hit and he stops screaming, like it hit him in the face or something, right? you would assume he's dead because you'd hear the nasty noises and then you'd hear him be silenced. But then, they find him and he's just got like a bruise on his jaw or something from when the thing hit him in the face to shut him up. There's things you could do that would stop me from doing my stupid movie brain shit, which is like, I've seen a million movies and I know how this is going to go. If you tweak that one thing, then you're going to trick at least me, right? Like the person who can do that.
Yeah.
But I mean, at the same time,
just hearing the crack of the helmet or something.
Yeah. And that's all through sound design, right? You don't have to show it. It could be off camera. It could be you can just see one arm coming in and out or something, like there's tons of stuff you can do to trick like the ones. And then, the twos are the people that you don't have to trick because they're just going to watch it and experience it. And they're going to be like, oh, that guy died. But then the other people are like, oh, we didn't technically see him die, which means he will appear later in the film, which is me.
The horror 101.
Shitty nerd. Yeah.
But it's funny that you've spent so much time analyzing the scene where, from my point of view,
I really didn't. I'm just doing it right now.
I mean,
I'm just dragging it out of him right now.
No, the bit that happens next, I thought it was so much worse for Elizabeth. What it turns out happens is he like grabs her and crushes her larynx, and she dies of asphyxiation. It seems when I watched it,
the larynx, the spirit of the forest, is like voiced by Danny DeVito, being like, "Whoa, whoa!"
Yeah, it's an environmental death.
Yeah, but my version was much worse because she died from like blunt force trauma to the head, like a cracked.
I mean, it might be a combo, Jason. Like, it just seemed like she was choked, but like she is being bashed. So,
but the realization I've had. The realization I've had is her throat is crushed and she's gasping for air. It's horrible in its own right, So sometimes when you watch a thing like this sequence here, I thought he was dead. I didn't use my critical thought of, in horror movies, if you don't see a person die, they're coming back. I didn't do that. So I thought he was done and gone. So later in the movie, when they're out in the woods and they take that wrong path again and they hear him screaming and he's still alive, I was like, oh, my version of that is if somebody's still alive in a movie, they're alive until they can get them to help, right? So it's like the opposite for me a lot of times. I'll see somebody still alive and like until they're confirmed dead, they're still alive. I don't do the like, we didn't see them die, so they're still alive. Does that make sense?
You're talking about the red-haired woman?
I'm talking about the red-haired woman being definitely dead.
Well, I mean, I also thought that too, because I was like, I need you to tell me she's dead, because they keep treating it like they're not confirming it. No one's saying she's dead, but she's also breathing at that one point, like, so you're like, okay, her throat has been crushed. She's probably gonna die, but like, and then she dies during the night, I guess, like, which is, and they don't want to talk about it. I get, like, narratively, it's like, it would be weird for them to be like, she's dead, man, she's fucking dead, and then everyone be like, shut up, don't say that. Like, whatever. We can understand what the alternative of that scene would be, but yeah,
it's weird though when she's like, oh, is she dead? And me as a viewer being like, yeah, is she dead?
I think, probably, definitely.
No one hears no one,
and then eventually
I do
it's just confirmed, you're like, fine, I guess.
When at the
I
end
think
of the
those
movie,
sounds you're hearing are her death knell. Actually, now that I think about it a little bit more.
One thing that I laughed out loud about was like at the end of the movie when Brian passes out and Sasquatch comes up and is trying to wake up Brian. Sasquatch is using proper CPR training techniques to make sure that he doesn't fuck with the body. Whereas like these idiots can't tell if this woman who got her throat crushed is dead, but Sasquatch is banging the ground next to his head. He's like, I'm like, oh, that's what you do when you go up to somebody before you perform CPR. And then Sasquatch kind of starts doing CPR on him.
Yeah, bash. See that in that moment too, I thought he was still alive, but he knew to play dead. They didn't telegraph it properly.
I also thought that too. I thought that he was pretending to be knocked out or dead or whatever. But
I kept being like, that must smell so bad. Because they always say Bigfoot is like the worst smell, and it like he's this close to his face, going.
Yeah,
that's where we bring up the burning beard from the beginning. It just sets Bigfoot's face on fire.
Yeah. He's pretending to be dead.
His
and he
hand
just,
comes into frame.
Yeah.
I
That
thought
would've
he
been
smelled
actually
bad
dope.
before.
Yeah. Chekhov smoking Sasquatch.
Heyo. So it's the night.
That's actually why there's the
Bigfoot.
burnt forest at the beginning.
I do want to say that there was a moment in this movie that happens right now, which is the bike gets tossed at the house, and then they're all like, "Oh God!" They go inside, and then the redheaded woman goes, "He's waiting for the nighttime to come and get us." And I out loud went, "Oh my God!" And I started like laughing like a lunatic. And Danny was like, "What?" And I was like, "This movie sucks." That was the moment that I
Sometimes
decided I
come
was
at
not
night,
having fun.
sometimes or whatever.
But
that
luckily
meant
for the
me.
movie's sake, after that moment, like I was not having a good time. And then after that, stuff started to turn. Like the bike being tossed at the house was like a plus, but that line really sunk it down low. And then the Sasquatch attack on the house brought it back up a bit. And then, like I said, the last like 10, 15 minutes of the movie is actually pretty good. So I was kind of like an up and down roller coaster ride at the end, but the beginning was just like getting lower and lower. And like, I'm like, this movie is fucking bullshit. I hate it.
I think this is my favorite part of the movie, though, because I always talk about how I like chaos. It gets so chaotic here where they have no idea what to do. Todd finds that old fucking rifle. He's
Like a single shot rifle with 4 bullets, but somehow he shoots it so many times. Yeah.
He's shooting it
The old
off.
break barrel.
Elizabeth wants him to shoot it, and he's like, I don't know where to shoot it. And it also, the Bigfoot's just kind of fucking with them a little bit here too. It manages to grab and kill Elizabeth like through the wall. They head into
Well,
the
it goes
cellar.
through the window where they put the bed frame up.
Yeah.
Like, but again, I was like, this thing seems so strong, but it can't push over a bed frame. Maybe they did a really good job of wedging that thing in or something. But yeah, it grabs onto her and like,
or maybe it didn't
also hucks her across the room.
It can't figure out doors, I think, is one of the weaknesses of this Bigfoot. It has no idea how to navigate doors.
Yep.
It happens here, and it happens
Understands transportation.
Yeah. Understands to destroy a car to make humans have to stay, but can't turn a doorknob to open a door, but can punch through a window.
I mean, like, you know, it sees the car moving. It's like, I have to destroy their chariot, you know, like in its head. It's like, if I smash this, it will stop working. Maybe I have to kill its giant armored beetle that it travels around inside of.
Tell me more about
that's something too to think about here.
Bigfoot is relating to like animals he knows.
Bigfoot is like, I have eaten bugs that looks like this but small. If I squish bug, it dies. If I crush big bug, it dies. That's what the Bigfoot is thinking.
I like that.
I would love to know what Uncle Bob's encounter was, because nothing of his is destroyed until the kids are there.
Hey, I've got a theory.
Yeah,
I've got a theory, Steve. I've got a theory.
All right.
Bigfoot is a woman. Bob is the father of the juvenile Bigfoot.
Oh God.
They call me Big Daddy.
He warned them not to interact with the Bigfoot, but he interacted with the Bigfoot on his own back in the
I thought maybe he had
90s.
like killed one. At
Yeah,
some point,
it's Uncle
and
Daddy.
Maybe he had killed one at some point, and it was coming after him, and he left and got out of there. And he's like, "Nobody go up there because I accidentally killed a Bigfoot." And
maybe he killed the mom.
Maybe, yeah. Like that's what because like he's clearly
I think that is the mom.
Yeah, maybe he killed the dad.
Because there was a very specific scene when all the bodies were laid out on the ground, and you could hear him in the woods about to attack Brian right at the end. I was like, "Oh shit! Are several big feet gonna come out of the woods right now?" I think that would have been sick because the whole time I'm going, "How do big feet create offspring asexually?" I've never been clear on this. I don't know if you watched Sasquatch
Bigfoot
Sunset.
Don't fucking exist, Jason. It's just like whatever you want it to be can be true.
No.
Okay.
Sasquatch
watch,
Sunset is
Willow Creek.
worth watching.
There are some people that think that Sasquatch are like interdimensional travelers. Some
Yeah.
of them think they're aliens. Some of them think that they
Yeah, that's true.
that there's only one of them that has ever existed, and he just wanders around and he's an immortal. Like, I don't know. It's like there's a bunch of crazy shit. Like there's no consistent or agreed upon version of what Sasquatch is.
Do you guys think that the Hulk has a green dick?
Who would win in a fight? Sasquatch or the Thing? So
That's
yeah,
a good question. Let's explore the depths of it in the video.
in the video. I think that in this movie, it just seems like they are like some sort of North American missing links ape type thing where it just exists and it is good at hiding. I don't think it's got mythical qualities.
it's
It
the
doesn't
title
seem
of the
to it
movie.
in any way.
My favorite theory is that Bigfoot is just like a homeless guy
He's,
who let himself grow his hair crazy,
who's got Robin Williams level of body hair.
but worse.
It's actually just Tom Waits.
Yeah,
You ran over my kid.
yeah. It explains the voice.
How are you doing?
Right.
The nice thing
So
about this too, I found, was like normally it's like Pacific Northwest or the Appalachian
Yeah.
Mountains where we deal with Bigfoot, and this is Texas.
East
I found
Texas.
very
they say?
strange.
East Texas. It's the
Is it East
Coast-ish?
Texas?
They say East Texas
Okay,
a
Yeah, they
couple
say
times.
East Texas.
East
And
Coast.
I don't really
Okay.
know if there's significance to that, if there's like a high concentration of Sasquatch encounters or sightings in East Texas, but I did look up, and a lot of the movie was filmed in East Texas, and it is a highly rural
Yeah.
area. So I think maybe
Yeah.
it's just like they just wanted to, because like assuming that these people live near there, they're just like, yeah, we're just gonna set it where we're filming it, maybe.
Well, the way that the U.S.
Convenient.
is situated and the
Yeah.
way that Texas is, East Texas is like northeast, almost Alabama, right? So that explains the like hyper wooded area, but not like tropical. So it, you go
makes
a
sense.
couple states north and it's Appalachia. So it, they're playing with a few ecosystems. If you know your geography of the states.
Yeah, this guy, he could be a desert Sasquatch. He could be a swamp Sasquatch. He could be a mountain Sasquatch. We don't fucking
Swamp
know.
Squatch.
Yeah.
I like the idea of a desert Sasquatch who's just like, there's nowhere for me to hide.
Yeah.
What do I do?
He just like curls up and pretends to be
Cactus.
Yeah,
I'm just a hairy rock. Leave me alone.
I'm a cactus. That's good. That's
just-
fun.
Yeah, the people come up. He's like, "Is that a Sasquatch?" He's like, "I'm just a mirage."
Yeah, that's how that one Alpha Flight Sasquatch became part of the Alpha Flight. Listen, Elizabeth gets killed. They head for the cellar. The thing is terrifying. Good job, film. Long scene of them listening to destroy the upstairs. Which this movie likes to do. Long sequences of them reacting to things happening outside of where they are.
It's because that
Yeah.
shit is effective in something like the Blair Witch, where you have absolutely no idea what is coming for them in the Blair Witch. You never see anything in the Blair Witch. Your imagination is running fucking wild in the Blair Witch. Whereas this movie, you see Sasquatch like fucking 14 times before this moment. You've seen him so much that
Yeah.
you're excited to see his arm come through through the thing. But that again, to the detriment of the movie, that moment where he's being chased on the bike, I think it kind of downplayed Sasquatch to me a little bit because it didn't have the ability to shoot it from really low angles and to make it look massive. So it just looks like a hairy, muscular man running around. It doesn't seem like a big giant 9 foot tall ape thing. I think that when she's being lifted up by one arm, you get like a good idea of its strength. So it's terrifying there, and you get a little bit of like shadowed, recessed, dark teeth face, like when it's like yelling through the crack.
Yeah, the
effective,
floorboard
but-
moment. Yeah.
Yeah, like I know you were saying, Jason, that you were feeling the tension in this, but I was just like, I was kind of waiting for like to see what the outcome would be, and not necessarily feeling the tension of the moment.
Yeah.
Again, it's like everything the movie's trying to get me to buy into. It doesn't work for me until that moment where he's lighting the fireworks. Like everything up until that moment, as soon as he like bursts through the fireworks, that's where I'm like, oh fuck, Sasquatch is kind of scary. This is actually frightening. Whereas like
No,
everything up to
this
that didn't work for me. Like including this moment. Like I wasn't freaked out. I was just kind of like, all right, so he's gonna smash around. Okay, let's see what happens. He's gonna leave probably. And,
this sequence was one of the best, like one of my favorite like movie moments I've seen in a minute, because like I always say, I like chaos, but also they're so fucking scared. They don't even know what they're up against. And then when he fucking punches through the floor and they manage to get a shot off and they don't even know if they hit him and he retreats. I just felt that like that sense of we're dead, we're toast.
Yeah, I laugh because me and Danny both like at the same time when Sasquatch got shot, it went like oh, and like it ran away, and me and Danny went like oh Sasquatch.
Me too. That's one like that's a thing that this movie managed to make me do. This fucking slasher flick killer, it has this this sensitive side, and it doesn't like it wants to exact revenge, but also it's weirdly human about it. It weirdly like
is that sensitivity
pain.
though?
Well, it's his nerves were definitely fried by gunpowder, I suppose.
Oh yeah.
I
think I'm the only person that didn't feel bad for Sasquatch in this entire film.
I didn't feel bad for anybody in this movie.
No,
except
fair.
Sasquatch. Maybe I felt the most for Sasquatch than I did for anybody else.
I
Even
think
when Uncle Bob
I
shows
think I
up, I was
just-
like, Uncle Bob seems like a kind of a dick. Because remember, he sees
Uncle
all
Bob
the
seems
dead.
like he's from a different movie.
sees,
Also,
like-
when he shows
He really does. He really, really
sees-
does.
like, who's this fucking cowboy?
He sees all of the dead kids, and the first thing he says is, "What did you boys do?" Like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
He
What a thing to
reminds me
say
of-
to somebody
he
who's like
reminds me of,
clearly in having like a crazy traumatic. He's like almost in shock level, and he's like, "Okay, Brian, we need to get the fuck out of here.
Mad
Well,
Dog
first, I'm going to
McCree,
shame your ass."
the
Sorry.
FMV fucking game from the 90s when they used to make
Yeah.
FMV games. He reminded me of like he appears on the screen in the like he's going to give you the quest in one of those old FMV games, like full motion video
I was
games.
thinking that it would have been so cool if they got someone like John Carpenter to play that character.
Yeah,
When
that's-
John Carpenter was playing Uncle Bob. Like he just
Why
shows up,
wasn't that
what the hell is going on?
Why wasn't that a well-known actor? It is
It's just
Jeff
some guy. I looked it up,
Jeff
and
Schwan?
he's a guy who's in things, but he's not someone that like Imagine they
He's
got
a-
Quentin
isn't
Tarantino or something to play him. Like someone who's like pretty okay at acting, but like also is just like a well-known horror director.
Or actor should have been Jeffrey Combs.
Jeffrey
Yeah.
Combs would have been
Jeffrey
great. But then,
Combs would have
no,
been
if it was
crazy.
Jeffrey Combs, that we would have need 25 more minutes of him like being like,
That's
I
a
was
good
in
point.
lo-
Yeah.
I fell in love with Sasquatch once.
and his beard is clearly fake because that
Yeah.
guy cannot grow a beard. There's no way that smooth-faced man can grow a beard. And it punches its way in, and they manage to shoot it and hurt it, I think. So, okay, the next day, they go up out of the cellar. They've got a corpse with them. There's blood and fucking broken furniture everywhere, which I thought was cool. Everybody's stressed out. They confirm that the bike that was thrown was Matt's, and Elizabeth is dead. And they make the decision to get the fuck out of there. And when they're going through the woods, they decide to take that same shortcut, I guess. I think I have a theory. This doesn't require the sting, but what if they just stuck to the path and didn't try to get to I think it's a highway when they keep saying 212. It's like a highway or an exit or something.
Yes. So he remembers a path from when he was a kid that he took 1,000,000 times. And he's like, it'll take us less than half the amount of time if we go this way than if we take the trail. And they're kind of wary at first, but then they both are like, well, do you remember it for sure? My brain is being like, don't trust the stoner, don't trust the stoner, don't trust the stoner.
But that is where we did see that's where Matt went. So like the two of them
Yeah.
clearly knew this, but it's a grown in nothing.
It's not a
shortcut.
well-walked path because the uncle has not allowed anybody to go up there in a long time, so it's been overgrown, and the Sasquatches don't use it. But I mean, the real theory is if they just stayed where they were, then Uncle Bob would have showed up. Like, you know,
They would have
12
encountered
few
Uncle
hours.
Bob. Yeah.
But also Sasquatch might have coming back, and
Also,
Right.
Sasquatch lives in that path, that shortcut.
yeah. But they also wouldn't have found Matt, and you know, the movie wouldn't have proceeded as it did. But yeah, if they just stayed put, then Uncle Bob probably would have showed up. If they re-fortified the house and be like, this time we're ready for Sasquatch. Just gotta
They
shoot him
find
again.
they find a toolbox with a hammer and nails and some wood, and they
cans.
fortify it better, and paint cans, and
Yeah.
like a really big long like pipe that they can tie to the top of stairs in the sequel, and it's much more impactful. Maybe some bricks and an iron that they heat up, and maybe some tar and a toilet filled with turpentine. That's my Home Alone.
Electrocute Bigfoot somehow. Shock his
Get a
ass.
whole bunch of Christmas
Throw
tree
some
ornaments.
bricks at him.
Yeah. What, you don't want this to turn into a Home Alone movie all of a sudden?
Yeah, that's
That
our
would
Home Alone of it
blow
all.
my mind. Yeah.
Yeah.
I have to go to the washroom. I'll be right
Lure him in.
I won't get too far forward because I think this movie's short enough that like we're
Yeah.
almost done, you know?
Yeah.
But
One thing I was curious about, and no one ever seems to bring this up in Bigfoot movies, and you mentioned this, and it drives the point home for me. And in this path that only like Brian and Matt and Uncle Bob would know about, is Bigfoot's den. Say, never in a movie did someone find a trail made by Bigfoot. I mean, when you go into the woods, if you're ever hunting, you see trails clear as
True.
day that animals will always take. It's like when it comes to Bigfoot, if it were actually a thing, it knows enough to take a different path around different trees every time it goes on some excursion.
this human-sized thing that leaves footprints everywhere. Let's not mince the reality that he finds a footprint early in the movie. But you're right.
Yeah.
Bigfoot is an 8 foot tall, like anthropomorphic monkey who always just never takes the same route twice.
Yeah, never
guess.
breaks twigs, never creates a path or anything.
But
No
his feet,
trail.
it's right in the name. His feet are literally big. They're
Yeah.
literally huge. I think that goes to the paranormal element of it, and him being a mythological creature who also has Jason mist abilities. He just mist through the
What did to
woods.
say? Float like a butterfly, sting like a skunk ape.
Stink like a skunk ape? Is that what you said?
He said sting, but stink I think works even better. Float
It
like a
does.
butterfly, stink like a skunk ape. I'm gonna write that down.
That's what Muhammad Ali used to say.
True.
Oh man, that is funny. Skunk ape. I forgot that's what they were also called.
Yeah. Let's go back like the legend of Boggy Creek. One of the few
Well,
really good ones.
Creek.
I imagine what do you guys imagine a Bigfoot smells like? I imagine it smells like the smell of like a dead mouse, but also a skunk, but also like like when you smell somebody's BO on a bus.
Yeah.
All
Those
those
three
things mixed
things
together, yeah.
combined. Yeah.
I would imagine a rotting rat corpse and dying moss.
Yeah, something very earthy, but also like
Yeah, definitely earthy.
I
Hello, frequent caller.
Hi.
That's a good pun. That's a good pun. It's good play on words.
Yeah, I mean, I think that you know when you smell somebody who has like unbelievably sort of like the food they eat is coming through their pores kind of thing, where it's like their body odor is like next level, or it's not just sort of like a regular body odor, but like a salty meat kind of
They
a
only
stink.
they only eat pollock.
But also, you would assume that a Sasquatch would be omnivorous, which would mean that it would probably only eat mostly vegetables and meat every once in a while, right? Like that's how I always think of Sasquatch. Like I don't think of them as something that eats meat primarily, because like think about apes, right? Like apes mostly eat vegetables and fruit, but if they have to, they'll eat something. They'll even eat other apes sometimes, but usually that's like as like a ritualistic weird thing. Maybe that's where all the
What does an
Sasquatch
ape
went.
smell like?
It's true. That's actually what does it?
Good question.
I would assume like the zoo. When you go to the zoo, it smells like shit and hay and stuff. Right?
Yeah, hay.
Let's see what the internet has to say.
Yeah,
The
according
barn.
to Google, apes, particularly gorillas, are known to have a distinct, often musky or pungent body odor. That doesn't really strong musky smell.
Saying musky and pungent just means that that's a strong, heavy odor. It doesn't tell you what the odor is. I could describe anybody as having
Research
a
suggests
pungent odor.
that gorillas, especially silverbacks, use their body odor to communicate in various social contexts. It's like us.
Do humans not? Yeah, I can tell what somebody's trying to say if they smell like an old armpit. Well,
This
we've done some
includes
good work here
broadcasting
tonight,
their presence,
friends.
hiding
Yeah.
from strangers.
Jason's nickname in
and
high school,
signaling
Old
aggression.
Armpit. No,
Can you say that again?
I said
Can you
Jason's.
say that again?
I said Jason's nickname in high school, Old Armpit.
Yeah. Nice.
Here comes Old Armpit again. He's up to no good.
I was pheromone maxing, okay? I was pheromone maxing.
Yeah. You're on a treadmill, be like, I'm trying to pheromone max. I'm going to the bar later. Trying to pick up the weight.
Mr. Wembley.
Yeah. And here comes Old Armpit. So where are we at here? The rocks?
They make the decision to go off the path to a shortcut. They can hear Sasquatch. They also find Matt's helmet and blood and like a spot with some blood on the ground. And then there's just like a travel montage of them like traveling through the woods, and then it becomes night. They find cover.
Like
What were they under?
Like the guy slipping.
Footbridge.
Yeah.
Oh, it was a footbridge. I was like, how did they get it? Why is this park bench like this? It wasn't a park bench.
No, it was a footbridge.
Or a
But
picnic
that was
table.
also like the indication that he did know where he was going, which I was like,
Yeah,
okay, yeah,
right.
they should have trusted him because they're on the right track. But then he goes to smoke a joint, and I'm like, this guy can't be that dumb, right? I'm like, they're gonna stop him probably. They do, but she stops him with a look. But I'm like, you think that a Sasquatch isn't gonna smell your fucking reefer, you pervert?
And want a toke.
Yeah.
But it's also stupid because Todd's like sanity meter is all the way down, but he has the gun. So he's firing into the woods blindly while giant rock-shaped bricks are flying out of the forest.
They're
at
about
them.
the size of like a human head, maybe bigger. Like
they're
they're
big
very
rocks.
big rocks. Yeah.
Yeah. Which was awesome.
And
I
that's
thought.
classic Bigfoot thing, really, is throwing rocks at people's cabins when they're inside, or like, depending on what you listen to or what you watch, it's more of like a threat or just more of try like a diversion or something like that. But here it really feels to me like Bigfoot's just fucking with them.
Yeah.
It
Like,
does feel
it's-
like he's trying to push them towards the goal, which is to show them what they did, right? Like,
Yeah, I think so too.
Which you can't really understand until you get to that, the end point, and retrospectively you understand like, oh, Bigfoot is moving them to where he wants them to go, so he can be like, look at what you fucking did, you assholes.
Yeah. But I think we can agree that this movie's not good enough to do something like that effectively.
I agree.
No, I think you guys,
As much as I
came
would
up
like
with
it
that.
to, like I'm watching it and I'm like, at this point I'm now fully to the point where I'm like, they killed another Bigfoot, and he's trying to show them what happened, or he's hunting them specifically for revenge, because it's like Jaws the Revenge or whatever, right? Or it's like the shark
come on,
coming
it's
at-
not that bad.
Listen, Jaws the Revenge is actually kind of good if you watch it in the right mindset. But I think that, like, again, all movies can be okay if you watch them in the right mindset. So like I'm watching this movie going in hoping that it's going to be good, seeing that it's bad, but it's not bad enough for me to like it for being bad. So I'm sitting here in the middle zone where I'm like, I don't fucking like it and I don't hate it, and I don't like it for being bad, and I don't enjoy it for being what it is, which is middling to me. So to me, it's just bad, not good, bad.
I'd like to point out too that during this whole sequence, full night vision, and it's almost like the movie, as they were making it, they realized we can't just show people in the blackness of the forest.
Yeah.
It's like they learned, like, did they shoot this movie in the sequence we watched it in? Because it does very much seem like visibility gets better.
That they filmed, the part at the very beginning where they're standing in that dead woods that they end up in the end.
Yeah.
They probably filmed that after they were done filming everything else, being like, let's get a shot of us in the dead woods because it'll be poetic. It ends how it begins.
And then they did that sound effect with their voice. They went, because that's kind of what it
It's
feels
very
like.
Hotel Transylvania.
Yeah. Anytime that I'm doing
I
something
don't
like-
say blah blah blah.
anytime that I'm doing something that feels too poetic or like schmaltzy or like too artsy fartsy, I'll go like, and then it's like this, and then like and like this is like that, and then like, and then people will be like, oh yeah, true, that does make sense.
Yeah, definitely. That was very good.
If you're not earnest about it, then it's just a moment.
Ernest Meets Bigfoot would have been a good one.
Oh my god, it's
That
Sasquatch.
would be amazing.
Vern, what do you think?
And then the cross-dresser character comes in. Well, I thought that Bigfoot would have been a good person to meet. But alas, listen, we have a situation.
Listen, Ernest
on
was
our
taken
hands.
from us too young. He should have.
Yeah.
He should have survived much longer than he did.
At least
I
John
think he
Cena
was
looks
actually
like.
way older than we thought he was.
I think
Oh, yeah.
that is the case. I think when Jim Varney passed away, he was actually like 70, but he just had a youthful spirit.
Yeah.
Oh no,
But you're
he
right.
was
John
like
Cena does
look
20,
like
but
him.
a
He
bad
should-
smoking habit.
Yeah, John
I
Cena
guess that
does
explains
look
the
like
voice.
him, and he should reprise the role of Ernest, but just as a big jacked. Monster.
Holy shit. How old do you think Jim Varney was when he passed away? Do you guys know?
52.
I'm gonna say
I don't know.
83.
He was 50.
What?
Oh shit! I was almost right.
You were almost right, but yeah, he looks like did he die of cancer?
Yeah,
Yeah.
he did.
Hey, Vern. Know what I mean?
But yeah,
Hey, Vern,
Bigfoot
you guys
and
know me,
Ernest are very
Vern. Know what
interesting.
I mean? We should do an Ernest month and
We
then
do
want
all
to kill ourselves immediately.
I
after.
have every Ernest movie and TV show, and
my
Oh
God.
man. Yeah, the TV show Know What I Mean.
This guy earnestly loves Ernest. That's the new
Yeah,
podcast.
truly
with
is
me,
the
me and
importance of
Ben,
being
earnestly Ernest, and we just talk about Ernest shit forever.
just come up
What,
with
what
Jason, you're not welcome,
Potential
all right?
Ernest films.
You gotta wait outside, Jason.
classic?
Ernest.
I'm
Sasquatch.
Brian in this scenario.
Who's the voice? Who's like, yeah, I don't know enough about the Ernest lore. Like I watched it.
ahead.
I watched the Scared Stupid like probably 1 million times as a kid.
Yeah.
'cause it
Yeah.
had crazy
Ernest Goes to Camp. I had on a VHS. I think
Yeah.
that was the first one, right?
It was, yeah.
Yeah.
Uh,
And that one
then,
is actually weird
Saves
and
Christmas.
gross. And
It
Saves
is.
Christmas is the second one, and then
Yeah.
Scared Stupid, and then
And
Goes
That
to
one's also
Africa.
weird and gross.
No, then it goes to jail.
Oh, Ernest Goes to
And-
Jail, and then the straight to DVD ones start happening after that.
Yeah, Ernest Scared Stupid was the last theatrical one, I think, or the last one through Disney, because they only had a 3-picture deal.
And the best one.
Okay.
Remember when he's
Yeah.
like, I know your weakness, trolls. Miak. And you're like, what
Miak.
the fuck is Miak? still don't know what miak is. Isn't it like ox milk or something? like ox butter or something?
It was just milk.
No, that's what they needed was milk, but he was so stupid that he thought it was miak.
It was M-I scratched out letter K.
Mhm.
Miak. But yeah,
So our heroes hear Matt at this point and go down into his little cave. It reminded me a little of Bone Saw. What was that one that we did on your show, Ben?
Tomahawk.
The BS argument. Bone Saw
Tomahawk.
Tomahawk. Bone Tomahawk.
Yeah.
Going down into the cave kind of reminded me of that a little bit.
That movie's good. Very gruesome.
Yeah.
But good.
I've never seen a person get bisected in a movie until that.
I describe it in D&D all the time, but yeah, I've
And
never
then
seen it
terrifying.
like that in a movie before.
I always say bisected, but not the way you'd think.
Yeah.
And with one,
I like
last
to
bullet-
think of myself as a bisexual, but like most people don't vibe
That's the
with that.
title on one of our thumbnails that you made.
I know,
Bisexuals.
because our friend Alex has been on for way too many movies where people get cut in half. Where I'm like, I guess Alex is the official bisexual.
Yeah.
He has to be on the float in the parade.
Signs, Christine. He
The
was
ghost
on
ship.
Ghost Ship.
Everybody gets
Yeah.
fucking
Ghost
sliced
Ship.
in half.
Yeah.
How about Ghost Ship? So they hear Matt. With one last bullet, Brian takes the night vision into the nest to get Matt, and he finds him, his legs smashed to bits, and we see one of the scariest scenes of the movie, I would say, where Bigfoot's crawling through the hole, and you see his face in night vision. And
So this sequence reminded me of Quarantine, another found footage movie. I don't know if you guys have seen Quarantine.
Oh, yeah.
I think that is probably climbing up there when it comes to gold standard found footage movies. I don't think it's amazing, but I think it does everything that this movie is attempting to do in a more satisfactory way for the genre that it's sliding itself into.
It was decent for a remake.
Yeah, and I think that this movie at this point, I've already now fully committed to the fact that I'm like, we're gonna see a dead Sasquatch, and I want the Sasquatch to be like, you killed my wife or you killed my baby or whatever, I think I know that we're gonna see this at some point. But then we see this in the corner, and then he shoots, and I'm like, what if that's the injured Sasquatch, and he just killed the injured? Maybe that's the baby Sasquatch that he just killed, right? And so my brain is thinking it was just injured, and now he's actually killed it. And then turns out I was thinking all that for no reason, because it doesn't actually amount to anything.
but I was wondering if the wound on his shoulder when we see him at the end is from this gunshot, right? No,
I assume it's from a shotgun from Uncle Bob, because that was a shotgun wound. It looked like a shotgun wound to me, right? Look, the way it's all
it's
it's like a
blasted
huge,
out.
yeah, it looks like a
But
shotgun.
he doesn't have that. He doesn't have that any other time that we see him, or maybe it's just the way that it's shot, specifically.
Well,
not.
that's why I think it's Uncle Bob at the end, because Uncle Bob has a shotgun. That's what he
Oh yes,
Yeah.
you're right. I see what you're saying. Okay, yeah, that makes
Yeah,
way more sense.
Brian does have a shotgun, but I think it's more of the sound we hear is the thing being terrified of the sound, because it's
Yeah.
already been hit by it before, right? So
Yeah, but I think when Uncle Bob gets hit, doesn't the shotgun go off? Or am I crazy?
I think that big shoulder wound is from Uncle Bob. I
Yeah,
really do.
Yeah,
But I think it's more so the reaction to the sound of the gun going off, and that's why it makes a sound in the den.
right. So yeah, what I was saying is I thought that maybe when he actually shot the. So when I'm seeing the baby at the
Yeah.
end, I was expecting there to be a bullet hole in the head. I would be like, Brian, you fucked up so hard. You already fucked up by hitting him, but then you shot the baby in the head, you idiot. But you don't see anything like that. So maybe that should have been the play, right? Maybe.
I was gonna say that could have been really good if they did that.
And then like that's when he realizes like I just fucking shot the baby, or he doesn't even have to realize it, but maybe we see it, like a GoPro gets left behind or something, and you see like the Sasquatch like no, my baby. Maybe too handholdy, but like yeah, like I just
It says my baby.
the fact that like yeah, I mean they know some human words. They're time travelers or whatever, right?
Yeah.
But I think that like because my knee jerk reaction at the beginning of the movie to be like, wouldn't it be so cool if they ran over a baby Sasquatch and the Sasquatch is just trying to get revenge for the baby?
Yeah.
That was what I was like, that will be cool. And then as we watched the movie, I started to realize like, oh, is that actually what they're doing?
Exactly what's happening. Yeah.
And I would have liked a little bit more of that throughout, because then you'd be able to get the reasoning for the Sasquatch throughout, and like maybe they become more terrified, and maybe they try to do things to like, you know, put down like some fruit or something and like, we're sorry. Like again, this is me rewriting and being bad at it, but like, you know, there's interesting things you could do that probably would have extended the movie by like another 30 to 40 minutes, but like could have been interesting and weird.
That was an interesting thing with the runtime. It was only an hour and 20 minutes.
Like, but it felt longer for me. Sorry.
I thought it flew by.
Yeah, it flew by for me. I felt that like a length like that going in I was like, this is going to be easily consumable even if it's a bad movie. But I genuinely like this movie.
I will say that I looked at the time halfway through and I was like, holy fuck, I'm only 45 minutes into this. But then the last 45 minutes, that did really fly by for me. I was like, oh, it's over. Okay. The first chunk, I was just like, I don't know. You're setting up a bunch of stuff that I don't care about. You're setting up all these emotional tensions that don't go anywhere, and I don't care about the characters. And you know, anyway.
So they make it to the camper.
They find a camper, and then stupid idiot says, "Oh, we found people," and they're both like, "This looks like it's been abandoned for like a decade."
Yeah, and it does. I've seen this. In rural Nova Scotia, you can literally find these campers just abandoned in the woods. I don't even know what the story would even be. Just like, we went home from camping and never went back. The patriarch of the family died, so we had no way to get back there because it's the 1980s or something like that.
Or it's even as simple as like, we own this land, we're going to put this up here, and then when we come up here, we'll sleep in here and we'll clear out some trees and, you know, maybe build a cabin or something, but then you just don't do it and you leave the thing up there. Like, you know, that's
I always felt that way. My grandfather used to build hunting blinds on his like 50 acres of land. I'm sure that if I went out into those woods, I could find an abandoned hunting blind that still has like old cans and like bullet shells and like things. Like, we're gonna go back there the next season, but like he got too old and never didn't continue to camp. Right.
I used to go to one of my friends. He had like a cabin that, you know, was his family's, and like it was so far off the trail. You know, most cottages you go to are connected to a cottage town or, you know, some sort of community, and there's other cottages around, but this was like so out that I was like, we could all die and no one would know for like several days at least.
So this movie suddenly doesn't seem so ridiculous for these people to go out there.
It still does, but
the fact that they didn't tell anybody where they were going, right?
But we used to like walk around and we would find these cabins, and his uncle would be with us, Uncle Bob, and he would show us around, and he'd be like, well, no one's been to this cabin since I was a kid. And we're like, what? And we would go inside and you'd like look at like salt and pepper shakers and like utensils and things that like, you know, kitchen appliances and stuff that are from a time beyond even like the generation before used time, where you're like, this is a can opener that is so poorly designed. You're like, this is what they thought can openers were? What the fuck? But there'd be like no doors on it and stuff, and you're looking at this falling apart place, but there's still spices and food that has just been left behind by somebody who hasn't, you know, their family didn't even know they had a cabin, or they left their estate to their family and they didn't care enough to come up and look at this cabin, and now it's just a moldy mess or whatever, right? It doesn't even have doors on it. And it's like these places exist, and like I watched the movie Deja Vu this week, and like there's a scene where they go through this just like run down suburban town where like the whole town is just like dilapidated, and you're like, it makes you think that there's like areas that used to be like a thriving community that just fell apart, but then there's also places where it was like a getaway for people that they have forgotten about and their families forgotten about, and it just like goes into ruin. And that's how Sasquatch lives, guys. He goes around and he Sasquatch in people's dilapidated homes.
He's a Sasquatter.
Sasquatch.
Sasquatter's rights, buddy.
Yeah.
You live wherever you want. But the whole sequence here is insane to me because when they pull Matt into there, there's also a sequence where they're like they've got Matt between two people like trudging through the woods. Like this guy's legs are fucking compound fracture broken. Like
I assume that his legs are dust, like his bones are like dust. Yeah.
The only thing that made sense about this is there's a point right before Sasquatch comes and like knocks the camper off the cliff. Matt is out. He is passed out because of the pain. That made sense to me. But this whole sequence is insane because Todd makes the plan to shoot fireworks. He gets out. He sets up the like a magnum or whatever.
It's because they get called by Uncle Bob again, and Uncle Bob reveals that he's at the cabin. So they're like, if we shoot off the fireworks, he might hear them and he might see them and know where to go. And they're right, and it works. And you know, this is a good setup payoff thing where I'm like, I was hoping to see some fireworks go off at night, whizzing by Sasquatch's face, and see some red and green or like blue light flashing by a man in a monkey suit. But you know what we get here is pretty good too. I think
it would have been more effective at night, but it was interesting to see they're like, oh, it does work because they're like the fireworks are going to work in the daytime. I also really enjoy the fact that Todd gets grabbed during this and thrown into a tree, and then his GoPro for the rest of the movie, which captures a lot, is broken. It's got like a fake broken effect over it. But I did like that
during that when he flies into the tree and it's like and like you hear a good clunky sound. You hear the shatter of the glass. You see the camera break. I think I said to Denny, oh, they finally did something creative with the first person perspective of this fucking movie. It took them the whole movie to do something creative. Yeah.
You both blew past, which I think is the biggest creative mistake in the movie. And that is inserting that scene where Todd sits down on Matt's broken legs.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. What a weird comedy moment for no reason.
Exactly. And it breaks it up because I think it is actually pretty tense up until that point and after that point. So putting that little bit of humor in there, first of all, it doesn't belong in this movie whatsoever. No. Anything past the first act, you don't have humor.
Also, there's a really
and it really ruined this because we get.
I was going to say there's a really shitty joke. Completely. There's a really shitty joke just before that, right? Where he says something like, "We should have just gone to the beach, guys," and then like she laughs and kisses him or whatever, and then he sits on his legs and he's like, "Oh," and the guy's like, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to sit on your broken legs." And you know, like it's good, like it alleviates the tension enough because you're so tense. I don't think that the moment where Sasquatch pops through the smoke would have been as effective had they not sort of like tried to bring it down a little bit, right?
Mm-hmm. Oh, I disagree. Oh yeah, like I think putting humor in that scene is a horrible choice because I think Bigfoot running through that smoke is beautiful. It's very scary. It catches people off guard. But I think if you kept building the tension to that point and didn't break it off completely, it would have been that much more effective. So I think if they didn't have that bit of humor at that point in the movie, Bigfoot running through that smoke could have been the scariest part of the entire film.
To me, it is. It already is. So
really,
I think that, yeah. And for me, I appreciated the tension break because you're at a level where it's like, they're in this situation that is hopeful, right? So like having them be able to finally have those moments of like, breaking the tension with humor, and it's bad humor, right? Like the sitting on the legs is funny. I think I agree with Jason that it is funny. The joke before that is weird, like shitty screenwriting 101. Like, and then he says something like, "We should have went to the beach." That should have been a rough draft joke that they reworked and made into something better, or just got rid of altogether. I agree.
But I didn't have, I wasn't affected by Bigfoot running through the smoke, because my initial reaction to that was, that looks ridiculous. The Bigfoot in the daytime at that moment, it made me go, oh, that looks bad. But what the comedy moment breaks up for me is the next sequence of Bigfoot being outside the cabin and tapping on all of the windows and doors and not be able to get in, doing like the classic, like, I can't manipulate a door to get in, and then pushes them off the cliff. I thought it broke up those two sections. So and I think we all witnessed that joke deflating the moment differently, which I think is a great, like, that's a testament to some good, like, storytelling. Maybe not good filmmaking, but storytelling wise, I alleviated a pain that I had of this tension that was growing and growing and growing. You get the funny moment of like, you just sat on his legs, what the fuck, man? He's like, oh, sorry. And then the next sequence is the Bigfoot pursuing them again, and then the great sequence of the rolling RV, and then I would say the climax of the movie is the Bigfoot jumping down and straddling the doorway, and you see him in his full glory, which
the climax, but that's definitely an exciting shot. I think
that maybe the RV rolling off the cliff is the climax, but I think the master shot, like the big moment, is you see him jump off a cliff and land. I thought it was so fucking good. It fucking messed me up.
It's the only moment in the entire movie that I went, that's cool.
Yeah.
I have not, I didn't say that about anything else in the entire
movie.
It
wasn't for me, but I do see what you're saying.
I agree with Jason on that one.
For me,
it seems like the buildup of the tension followed by humor, and then the use of a jump scare to get you back into the tension, I found kind of cheap. I see why people would like it. But then you go right into the attack on the camper itself on that trailer, and then now I'm back into it.
But it's
not just a weird mishmash.
Right? It's not in. So it's not. It doesn't go right into the camper attack. We first get him chased, and then it fucking murders him, and then it comes back. So I think if they didn't have a moment for everyone to breathe, it doesn't necessarily have to be humor, but like a moment for them to breathe, just going from moment to moment to moment, you'd be overly tense. And I don't think that like Sasquatch appearing from the smoke would be as effective. Now I could be wrong. I just feel like for me, that moment worked so well because your guard is let down for a moment. So like Uncle Bob calling, them realizing we have the fireworks. Okay, we're gonna go put the fireworks up. The fireworks working. All of that stuff is bringing the tension down. All of it's bringing the tension down, not just the joke. All of that is doing that. And then, he's like, all right, we're gonna do this. We're gonna fucking do. And then through the smoke, him running it. And I know Jason says he doesn't think it looks good, but I thought it looked fucking sick. It's like, this is crazy. He's Terminator 2 running at him. This is wild.
And that's fantastic though. Just because I'm not a big fan of it doesn't mean that it doesn't work. It's just not what I wanted.
That's fully what I'm saying too. Just because I didn't,
there is something to be said for the fact that like we're all explaining why this moment did or did not work for us, and like for me, this moment set the tone for the rest of the movie, which I think is the strongest stuff that this movie has in the next 15 minutes. So like for me, without that, I don't know if I would have felt the way that I feel about the last chunk of this movie, which I think is the best part of the movie. Whereas everything else before this, I was kind of like, we're watching a movie and I don't like the movie and the movie's bad. And then this happens and I'm like, all right, maybe this movie's not as bad as I thought. I kind of like this.
Yeah. No, I wish I got that out of it too. Like that's I think my main complaint is like, I wish I saw it the way you did because it sounds fucking awesome. And I feel like I'm missing out on that.
I just don't.
I wish that I got to go back in time and watch it in 2014 and enjoy it.
Right. I think that's the biggest thing of it all. But I don't think it's anything that any of you are saying is really a detriment to the film. I just don't like seeing this version of Bigfoot. To me, was kind of like under the light of a slasher style monster. That's how I interpreted it.
Yeah.
And I don't like seeing slasher.
It's more
killers
like
in
Jason's
the
mom than
daytime.
Jason, actually.
Sure.
Yeah, she's
Jason's
taking
mom
revenge.
makes sense in the daytime, but I just really I thought it looked goofy where Steve, you were affected by it, but we've
didn't
been
mind
this
it,
has
is what
been
I
the
can say.
great
It didn't think
this
it,
has been
it
the
didn't think it
great
looked any goofier than anything else in the movie, is what I'm gonna say.
this has been the great conversation of it all. It's been a long time since you and I specifically, Steve, have had such difference of effect, witness how a movie has affected us on two different sides of the spectrum. And it's so great to talk to Ben, who also has this like third version of the way he watched the film. I think this conversation is one for the books because we all clearly got different stuff out of this movie, which it might be a good movie for that.
All right. We need to talk about the rest of the movie before you're getting into your final thoughts.
It's
over
true.
here.
Listen, the trailer goes over the cliff. Matt's fucking dead. They look at Matt and he's like, Matt's fucking toast. Brian's
so
cut
is-
real bad.
Everyone's dead at this point, right? Like Todd gets his head smashed in the tree. What's her name?
I don't know
Dora.
what the other girl.
Dora. That's right. I was like, she has a
Okay.
cartoon character name, and I was like, oh yeah, it's Dora. the
Her
Explorer.
death I thought was pretty effective because they did the thing where she's like bleeding.
Well, she's definitely the best actor in the movie, I think, because everything
Yeah.
that she does is very. They hired her because she can like really evoke emotions. Like when she's upset, she seems upset, and when she's dying, she seems like I'm like, oh, she's probably the best actor out of everybody in the movie, but she, is being reserved for those moments of.
Well, her on-screen
emotions
death in
coming
this
in.
movie was like legitimately a good death. Like it
Yeah.
sucks when somebody's like, "Oh my god, I've died."
So the redheaded woman.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But her death is like clearly her like sternum is crushed or something from the tumble, and she's bleeding out the mouth, and she's like, you see her like last moments, and she does that great acting thing where her eyes go like limp,
Blank.
I guess. Yeah, blank.
You say
It's
limp?
really good.
My
I said
eyes are
limp. Her eyes went limp.
They called me Limp Eyes in high school as well, and I didn't.
Hell
really
yeah,
get it
brother.
Until now.
But her death was very good, and then Brian is alone, and he's cut, but he does that thing where he like looks at his cut, and I was like, oh, that's gonna come back. It doesn't. He's fine.
Yeah.
He's able to like kind of escape.
Yeah, I think
but
that
when
was
he
just to be
runs-
like he's also like the reason he's not moving as quickly as he could is because he's injured. Like the movie
Right.
wanted you to know that he's bleeding out as well.
when he flees out of there. This is why I was so confused after listening to you guys talk about it. I thought, like I said, when he runs and wipes out, I thought that he had I thought that he was pretending to be dead, but you guys posit that he was knocked out. And I
No. I agree
now.
with you, Jason. I
No,
thought that he.
I
Was,
agree too.
Yeah.
Okay,
I thought-
but I agree the other way now because I'm remembering that when he gets pulled.
so you
by the
disagree with
tree-
us? Is what you're saying?
I disagree with myself. The reason I say that, though, I have.
No, we
something
both
back
agree
up
with you, Jason. Well, then I agree the other way. Oh, so you disagree with us? Is that?
I agree both ways.
Well, you guys had said it.
They call me a
earlier that
bisexual.
He was passed out, and Bigfoot was trying to wake him back up. But the reason why I see it the other way is because when he's being yelled in the face and bashed on and whatever,
Yeah, when
Right
when
before
Bigfoot
his
is
legs-
performing proper CPR technique.
proper CPR, right before his legs are pulled and he's being pulled with the other corpses, he has that moment of like, like that wake up. So maybe he was knocked out.
I think he was, but in the moment of that I was like, oh, he's doing what you do when a bear is there, right? Like you have to
Exactly.
That's what I thought.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But then his eyes open and he's being dragged, and then he lets go of the camera, and then he gets pulled to the area. I did kind of like that it showed all the other cameras being dragged. Like I thought that was kind of cool.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Like even though it doesn't really make sense narratively that it would be edited together or whatever, but like who gives a fuck? That's kind of cool that Bigfoot went back and was like, I'm going to bring all these corpses here. And because I don't know, maybe Bigfoot doesn't know if they're alive or dead, but Bigfoot wants them to see what they did, because Bigfoot knows that Bigfoot baby, Littlefoot, as we call him lovingly in this community, is dead. And they want them to see what happened.
Community.
Yeah. And then he wakes up, and then I think that's where my idea of like he was faking it also dissipated. But like in the moment, I was like, oh, he's pretending like you would with a bear. Like, what a smart guy Brian is. But it turns out that Brian was just knocked out.
Yeah.
I think.
Yeah, I don't know. That part's always confused me, and everyone I talk to about it seems to flip flop back and forth because I think it's pretty unclear.
Yeah, I think that the thing that make me believe that he was actually knocked out is that when he breathes, like Jason said, where he wakes up later, where I'm like, oh, he was actually knocked out. And it doesn't really matter, because if he was pretending, then it would make him a smarter character, and he would have figured out how to do stuff after that fact. But that's not the case.
It works.
So then
there's the interesting shot of him getting placed down with the other corpses, and then the broken camera falls down beside him, which I thought was a cool shot.
Yeah, cool
and
shot.
All the bodies were laid out.
I'll let the bodies hit the floor.
We find out the thing that he hit was a kid, and the reveal of this was so like, I don't know.
For me, it was a vindication where I was like,
yeah. But I was.
Am I the king of movies? Horror movies?
I was affected by this, not just because of the reveal of a child Bigfoot, but also the way that it was being prepped to be buried, with like the bones sticking out of like the grave. Like, it's so fucking bizarre how crazy this looked. They also, the use of fly sound effects during this whole sequence, when he's placed down, you hear the fly sound effects, because
but those digital flies need to fuck right off. Those were
they need to fuck
digital
off.
Flies.
Yeah, they're pretty bad.
I suspended my disbelief for that. I would have
preferred just the noise and no flies. Like, I can deal, like the noise, you can at least imagine they're there, but when they're shitty digital flies that
just like little,
they were so poorly composited that like when the camera moved, like they would move with the camera.
Yeah,
I'm like, oh my god, that's so terrible. Yeah.
But every horror movie that has that's something that actually
birdemic level effect, which is not a good thing.
But that is something that scares me in a horror movie. The sound of flies.
That many, the like where it sounds like there's like 1,000 around you. Yeah.
It reminded me of Amityville Horror.
Yeah.
Priest in the attic.
Yep.
I like this part. I know you guys said that you thought that the baby Sasquatch looked like shit, but like,
no, I didn't say. Ben said that. I said it looked like the alien from, but I didn't say it looked bad. I said
so. You compared it to something else that looks like shit.
I said it looked like something specific, but the effect of the moment still affected me.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, then that's all that matters, right?
Yeah. Not a fan of how it looked, but I love the idea.
Yeah. I felt. Sorry, I shouldn't say the king of horror movie prediction, but like the Baron, maybe like a landlord being like, I've been here before. The Duke. I'm the Duke of horror movie predictions. But like, I did like that it was something that I thought would be cool. Then it turned out that they were doing, but then the movie, as I was going through it, proved little by little, but that is what they were doing. And I still think that this is a really cool idea. I just wish that it was a little bit more of the movie, because, you know, we've discussed already that these characters are unlikable and shitty, and we don't give a fuck if they live or die. And if we were to have them explore the world in the way that they do in something like the Blair Witch, where like, you know, they stumble across things and it's frightening and strange, and your imagination is going wild. Like, imagine like we saw, you know, when he goes into that little hutch of the Sasquatch or whatever, there's like a weird little like healing station or something, like goo in a bowl and like a burnt out fire and bandages, and it's like, what the fuck is this for? Like as he's moving through it, you know, just things that like make you think about the Sasquatch a little bit more than it just being like a creature. I don't know, hints that like, other than them being like, Sasquatches are supposed to be peaceful creatures. Did we do something to the Sasquatch? Oh, look at the Sasquatch's face. Look at that. What did we do? We shouldn't have shaved the baby Sasquatch after we ran it over. I want to
do wanna
believe that
believe.
we shouldn't have done that.
I don't know.
I will say that like I did not feel the same level of like, oh, that looks terrible as you guys, because like, what does a Sasquatch look like? I don't know. Like if you see a dead anything, it doesn't look real because it's so void of animation or life that like a lot of the times it looks fake. So like when I saw the dead baby Sasquatch, I was like, oh fuck, it's small. And then when it showed its face, I'm like, oh no, it's got like a cute little face. Like I was like, oh no, that's a baby. And I was like, I was right the whole time. It's a baby Sasquatch. And
I get what you're saying. Yeah.
I think that I did like that he is emoting expressively through his voice acting. Like you can feel that he has some remorse, and I hate this character and I don't think there's any redeeming quality about him, but I do think that he genuinely felt remorse. Like in the context of the movie, I was like, this character does he knew that he did something wrong, but he didn't know what it was, and he now knows what it is. And I do feel bad.
Exactly.
He understands he did something wrong, and they didn't mean to run this ass. It wasn't a malicious thing that they did, and they were just protecting themselves. Yeah. So you can feel remorse for the character, but again, I didn't care. I would have been completely fine if the Sasquatch smashed his head on a rock. Yeah, I would have been fine with it.
I think it would have hit home harder if he were the one behind the wheel when they hit the baby. Yep. Because right now when he doesn't, he has no control, but he's the one that has to accept full blame for it because he's the last one left alive. I felt it was kind of like a cheat. And like if it was actually him driving when they hit, then it would have made sense for like those two to be the last ones, like Bigfoot and the driver of the car.
I think you're right, man. But
we got what we got.
They wouldn't have been able to slick that sweet beard burning joke in at the beginning if he was driving, you know?
Yeah.
It's so crazy you said that because that was my exact thought about the fact that the person that wasn't even driving was like the final girl character, if you will.
Yeah.
Brian was asleep during the actual thing that happened that created all of this, and now he's the only person that survives, which is a little bit like
there's an argument to be made that like the reason that it got hit was because they were pulling that prank on him while he was asleep, and so all of them, including the driver, are guilty for running it over because they weren't paying attention to the road, because they were all paying attention to the burning of his beard.
It reminds me of I Know What You Did Last Summer, kind of. Who was at fault in that situation?
Anyway, that's also like a dumb thing that like, that's a dumb thing. Whereas if that is an actual reason, then I'm like, I shake my head even more at the filmmakers being like, oh, so he's not responsible at all. So, and he's the one who lives or whatever. Okay. That's
counterpoint. Is this the remake of I Know What You Did Last Summer? Is this a remake? I haven't seen.
Hold on before you go on your rant about I Know What You Did Last Summer.
There was not going to be a rant. But
okay,
go ahead.
Well, is it going to take more than 2 minutes to explain?
It's not. No, it was going to take 10 seconds. I was just going to bring up the fact I haven't seen the second one. But the first one very much is for people who are the worst. And they kind of get what's coming to them.
Yeah. Well, and then Uncle Bob shows up, shoots the Sasquatch,
Yes.
or shoots at the Sasquatch. It runs away, and then Bob is like, "What the hell did you do? What your boys do? Oh, fuck!" And then he, there's obviously some sort of thing that Bob went through with the Sasquatch at some point. But
Here's my exact
unexpected.
line I wrote. Uncle Bob shows up in the nick of time to save Brian. Uncle Bob gets got.
Yeah,
All right.
Bob,
give
your
you my
uncle.
note on
Bob's
that.
dead.
Bob's your uncle.
Uncle Bob to the rescue until he isn't.
Yes. Perfect. No notes.
And then we've talked about it before. The Brian gets onto like a footbridge of some sort on the way to the truck, and the Sasquatch is right there, and he's like, he just turns around and he's like, "Stop, stop!" And the Sasquatch does stop, and he puts the gun down and he says, "I'm sorry, we didn't mean to kill your baby," and then he turns around, puts his back to the Sasquatch in the way that like I think you're supposed to do to like an ape. I think this is like a real thing. Like you're not supposed to show your eyes or your teeth to an ape, and it will see you as submissive and it will leave you alone or something. And he like records himself being like, "This is Brian Albuquerque, and this is my last recording that I'll ever make because I'm gonna get fucked by a Sasquatch." And then the Sasquatch leaves, and then the movie's over.
Yeah, that's the movie.
And then the credits come up, and it goes, "There were some scientists trying to figure out the Sasquatch. Until they
With
figured
Leonard
out it was a
Nimoy.
missing link." Yeah, it was good.
And then the Sasquatch fly in the misty mountainside.
That's a
Sasquatch
different
is my
Sasquatch
daddy
fly.
and is trying to find me.
He's trying
So
to
that's the
protect me.
Yeah, that's how it goes.
In search of Sasquatch. That was a kick-ass in search of with Lynn. Okay, I don't want to sing it, but it should have been the credits. That would have been if they just contacted Tenacious D and asked.
Yeah.
We probably could have got it.
Jack Black would have been like, "Yes, of course."
Mhm.
2014.
And he would have been like on tour being like, "Also
Yeah, it's
free.
exists. I'm doing the end of exists. It's good." Yeah. Right.
So that's the movie exists. Thank you, Ben, for bringing this to our attention.
Yeah. That sounds
Ben-
like you both enjoyed it
Yeah.
immensely.
Ben said,
Listen,
"I need to bring something to your attention." And then we're like, "Okay, what?" And he's like, "It's called It Exists." And we're like, "What does?" And he's like, "The movie." And we're like, "What exists?" The movie.
exists?
Okay, what movie exists?
The
He's like,
movie
"No, it's
exists."
called Exists. Yeah. It's like
I
who's
thought it
on
was
what.
like,
They're on.
yeah,
30 or whatever.
exactly.
Yeah.
I thought it was interesting that this movie doesn't have a title drop because all anybody had to say throughout the whole film is Bigfoot exists, but they'd never do, confusingly. But that said, I think it might be time for our final thoughts, our home alone of it all, and our ratings.
Oh my God! All of them?
If you
All
had
of
to
them.
pick
All together.
one,
Well, what do you think
but
the Home
when
Alone of it
is
all?
the Home Alone of it all?
Can someone please tell me when the Home Alone
I
of it
really
all
gotta
happens?
know.
When
When is the Home Alone of
What
it all?
is the Home Alone of it all?
Now that's the Home Alone of it all.
This is, of course, the only Christmas podcast that is Christmas 52 weeks a year because of that sting. Listen, if you've been here before, you know what the deal is. But if you haven't, the idea of the Home Alone of it all is that in every film, we posit that when in the movie Home Alone, when Kevin McAllister slaps down the blueprint, that's sort of what we're there to see. Everything that happens after the blueprint slap down is a bunch of, wet bandits getting their comeuppance. Now, what could possibly happen out of that theory is that it might not just be that Home Alone sequence. It might be your favorite part of the movie. It might be just the third act. Ben, you've been here 1,000 times. You've sort of been faced with this idea before. So at this time, could you please give us your Home Alone of it all, your final thought, and your rating?
For me, the Home Alone of it all, like any Bigfoot movie, is the actual attack of Bigfoot on the humans, whichever human characters we have. and normally it's done really poorly. And I think for the most part here, every attack from a Bigfoot, it actually is relatively successful. In that it's scary. It really works for me. The intro to the characters doesn't matter. The ending, it doesn't matter. It's the interaction, the tension that it builds. And I think that this is very good at doing that. Jason, for you, it's the attack in the basement. Steve, for you, probably the attack on Todd, throwing him into the tree. These are the things that matter the most, and this is why we're here. And I feel like this movie gave all of us something that we wanted from a Bigfoot movie, and everything around it, we were like, it's either okay or it's not. But we're here for the attack. We're here for that scare. And I think as far as Bigfoot movies go, this one delivers more than any other Bigfoot movie. My final thoughts on it would be that when you look at who wrote this movie, it was the director, Eduardo Sanchez, and I forget the other guy's name I've written down here, Jamie Nash. I don't know if either of you have seen VHS 2.
No, but I want to watch these. The VHS movie seems sick as fuck. There's like a few of them now, right? There's like 4 or whatever.
There's quite a few, yeah. Steve, have you seen any of them?
I've only seen this one.
I mean, that's a great story right there. Of course, it's and Linnea Quigley.
Is that real?
That's real.
Next year.
David Cocteau as well.
Oh my god!
Jamie Nash wrote a segment for VHS 2 called "A Ride in the Park," and the whole gist of that is it's a guy cycling through a forest trail, and he has a GoPro on his helmet, and it just so happens there's a zombie outbreak while he's like doing his ride. He gets attacked, gets bitten, dies, comes back. Now you've got a zombie with a GoPro on his head.
Oh,
and
cool.
That came out a year before this. Right. So it kind of feels like he's a one-trick pony there. But it's like, what if we just took that found footage GoPro, I've got something stuck on me, I can't get rid of it, and put it in a different scenario like Bigfoot. So
Bigfoot had a GoPro on his head.
Well, there's that movie.
Well, that's right?
There's that movie that came out not too long ago that is almost, it's a similar idea, but like it's not shot in a found footage way. It's a Jason movie, except imagine you just followed Jason the whole time, and he's walking.
A Violent Nature.
A Violent Nature.
Yeah.
And like that kind of thing, that gets my juices going a little bit more than any kind of found footage idea, because it's just like the idea of him walking through the woods and you just hear like people at a campfire. So rather than it being like the campfire victims are scared or whatever, and we're scared for them, it's like we're excited to see what he's gonna do.
Like, what's he gonna do? His way through the woods.
Yeah, and like that's.
I'm actually writing
cool.
down A Violent Nature to watch because I keep forgetting what's called. So
it was on Shudder, but with this movie, I really like it. I think it's successful at what it's trying to do for the most part. That doesn't mean it's great by any means. It could be a lot better. But I think that's one thing we all do is we think about it would be so much better if this happened, and not really considering it would have been so much worse if this didn't happen. So we're always trying to make something better and not acknowledging what it did right or what could have been worse. And they tried to, and it did better it, but it kind of iffy. It could have gone a little bit further. I think it's the best Bigfoot movie I've ever seen. There are others.
I have to say Harry and the Hendersons is better, but that's just that's my personal opinion. Yeah,
fair. That's fine. Like, these are just opinions, but this is the Bigfoot movie that I've always wanted. While I did enjoy Harry and the Hendersons, it's a lot of fun. It's got so many great moments. I needed a good Sasquatch horror film, and Willow Creek is a close second to this. But I really enjoy this, and that's why I was really excited to tell you both about it. And I never really took the time to look at it from different perspectives. I just appreciate it so much. I assumed everybody else would, and that's my mistake. That's on me. But I still do enjoy it.
It's not your mistake.
I would recommend it to people, but
I'm glad you brought it.
I'm not blaming.
I do like that. Like,
So-
you know, like that's what the whole point of this show is, hey, did you see this one? I had never seen it, and I've watched it
Yeah.
now, and I have ideas and thoughts on it, and I had to share them, right? I'm not gonna sugarcoat it for you, Ben. This is how I feel.
No, and that's the thing. That's the great thing about this too, because I went into this so in love with this movie, and I still love it, but not as much as I did before, because you both brought up amazing points. So I guess all I can really say about Exists is that while I love it, it does have its flaws. So I would probably give it 3 out of 5 dead baby Sasquatches.
Oh, 3. That's so many dead Sasquatches.
Well, I'll take the floor. I'll go next. Just because mine and Ben's response to this movie sort of align in a lot of ways. So my Home Alone of it all it's literally like when Bigfoot attacks, and it is sort of from the cabin assault on, but it is like spiritually anytime that Bigfoot is assaulting these teenagers or these 20 somethings. So that said, my final thoughts include thoughts like, why didn't they just take a little bit more care in making sure that some of the sequences in this movie, that while I understood what they were trying to do, why didn't they just like do that for everybody else? Why didn't they make this a little bit more ethereal and a little bit less handholdy? Why didn't they make the scares and the shock moments a little bit closer together, and put a little bit more lore into the outside of the Bigfoot elements? Like, a little bit of world building would have gone a long way for this kind of thing. And I'm not saying like, give me the backstories for all these characters. I don't give a fuck about all these characters. I love the fact that all these characters literally fit into tropes. I love that. But I do need a little bit more from that side of storytelling, because this movie rides the line of like horror thriller and slasher in a really great fun way, but I think it leans a little bit too much into that, like, because it's found footage, you're seeing reactions from people that aren't the principal people being affected by the situation.
Yeah.
You're just seeing a guy with a GoPro on his fucking head kind of capturing information, and that's okay. And I think that this conversation was transformative for all three of us, because we all came in with our ideas of what we thought this movie was, and we left here with both appreciation and disdain that we didn't have going into this conversation, which I think is okay. Well, Steven's unflinching, but me and Ben had a great conversation. No, I'm
I think that was a good conversation as well. And you guys did turn me around on a few things, but not everything. And also just the discussion, I started to realize that there's more about this movie that I was interested in than I ended up being fully interested in by the end of it, on my first watch, because I was like, what am I going to say? But now I'm like, oh, you know what? There's a couple of things in this that I didn't consider at the beginning that now I'm considering at the end, in terms of like specifics. But anyway, sorry, Jason, I didn't mean to.
No, I know. I hear what you're saying, and I agree with you. I think, unfortunately, suspension of disbelief is too important to this movie to make it like a great film. But I liked it a lot. I haven't been on the edge of my seat like this on this show like in a while, and I guess that's my own unfamiliarity with like filmmaking. Like I'm kind of an idiot when it comes to like a lot of stuff, but I'm not as much of an idiot as I was 5 years ago when I started doing this show, or like watching movies the way that I do now. So this movie is actually important to me now, because it made me watch the movie through the lens of a filmmaker versus just watching a movie. So I think that is an important outcome, and that's the way that I watch a lot of bad movies and good movies for that matter nowadays. If I was to give it a rating, well, it's a 3 out of 5 for me as well. Ironically, that's why I wanted to go next. But it's not 3 out of 5 dead babies or whatever. It's I give this movie. I wish they would have just fucking taken the plunge. And Steve, can you move to the left or right, just like a foot? I wish they would have just put that fucker in the movie the way.
You know, if there's an upside down tree through a car, that means you're in Sasquatch.
Because a massive draw to me was, I was waiting for that, and when I saw the tree through the car,
Jason,
I was like, oh, is that it? And then when I saw that exact tree in the ground, which
that makes you seem even dumber though when you believe the box art, right? That is
no. I know it doesn't because I'm not saying that I.
Okay, sorry, I didn't mean to call you dumb. I was trying to be playful. I didn't mean to.
There's more to it though.
I didn't mean to
Don't
hit
show
a
fucking
root, if
Bigfoot.
you know what I mean.
Don't call a movie exists here's my new rating. Don't call the movie exists, which could be literally anything, and then show Bigfoot on the cover of the fucking poster. Please never do that again. Any movie creator out there listening or watching, please never do that.
I wonder what my experience would have been like if I didn't know it was a Bigfoot movie.
Could have been Aliens.
I think I would have figured
been
out
Jersey Devil
within 5 minutes of it starting, because you see Bigfoot like 20 times.
So. Could have been Chupacabra.
Yeah, that's true. Could have been the great stink apes of North America.
Could have been fucking Loch Ness for all.
Did you give it your final rating? I'm sorry, I might have interrupted you.
All of what I just said.
So I kind of appreciated this conversation more than I appreciated the movie itself, because it made me think about it and break down certain aspects of it that I wasn't considering as valuable throughout my watch of the movie. Mostly about the Sasquatch of it all, where I'm like, well, this because as I said, like I was like, what would be really cool is if Sasquatch's baby got run over, and that's why they're hunting them, and that turned out to be what it actually was. Not because I was using my predictive magics that I do. I didn't cast a spell in the movie before, and I just thought that would be a cool idea. But by the end, realizing that that's what it was, and through this conversation, I realized that like that's actually like a really smart way to make a movie about Bigfoot without demonizing Bigfoot, because there's going to be like 1 million people that watch this movie who love Bigfoot, not because it's a fascinating thing, but because they like their plushy Bigfoot doll that they have at home, or their sticker on their bumper, or whatever their bumper sticker, or their magnet on their fridge that is a cute Bigfoot, because this Bigfoot is still kind of like a nice Bigfoot.
Watch Sasquatch Sunset and you'll know what Steve's talking about.
There's a version of this Bigfoot that is just a nice guy that they shared a meal with in the woods. It doesn't have anything to do with Bigfoot murdering them, but like, if you were a giant ape and someone ran over your ape baby, you might be inclined to go hunt them down and murder them, or at least, for the very least, like drag them to a weird muddy pit and show them the dead body and be like, "Oh, there it is." And that's kind of what this movie is. And when you look at it like that, that's a great movie. That's a really great premise for a movie. And I feel like that is what the premise of the movie was. They thought, imagine being forced to look at a dead Sasquatch baby and crying your eyes out, being like, "I didn't mean to kill your Sasquatch baby." Like, that's so good. My main problem with this movie is everything before that. I don't care about the characters. I felt nauseated by the camera work. There's no lighting. There's so much about this movie that upsets me. But I will say that like the concept of the movie, the idea of the movie is good. I like it. I like a lot of it. I think that Sasquatch jumping off the cliff and landing is one of the coolest things I've seen in a long time. Like I've watched all those Marvel movies, and rarely do I go, "Whoa, that's cool!" From like, you know, like a Marvel movie doing something, you expect that, but this movie doing that, I was like, I didn't expect that. That was like Iron Man fucking straddling my face. This is sick. Is this movie in 3D? Can I get some 3D glasses over here? But when it comes down to like, you know, thought provoking, obviously nothing. You're there to watch the kills, but then you're not invested enough in the characters to hate them enough to watch them die or care about them enough to watch them live. I had that issue throughout the movie as well. I think that it doesn't hit the bar in any of the horror elements that it's trying to hit, and maybe it's trying to reach too much in all directions, because, you know, you look at something like the Blair Witch and that's almost like completely psychological, where this is like sort of like padding around in psychological territory, but it's also, you know, trying to do the Jason Voorhees thing, but like he's not killing people one by one. Only one person dies pretty much through the entire movie until all of them die at once, and you're not getting that element as well. There's all these things that it's trying to do in horror, and it's not succeeding in any of them in a way that's satisfying to me specifically. I think that the idea of being lost in the woods is interesting. I think the idea of all your transportation, including your bike, your car, and your legs being destroyed is, you know, that's all pretty...
Give me your bike, your car, your legs.
All of that stuff is good, but I just don't think that it's put together in a complete meal for me. The conversation didn't really extend my appreciation for the movie in the way that I thought it would, but it did make me appreciate the story or the idea of the movie a little bit more, which does kind of broaden it a little bit. I don't know if I could recommend this to anybody based on like, if you like what I like, then you probably won't like this, but like if you like Bigfoot and you like found footage movies, then absolutely you will probably like this movie. If I had to, my Home Alone of it all, I forgot to say that one. It's absolutely when the bike just hits the side of the house. I'm like, oh, here we go. This is when we begin. This is when
absolute cinema.
Yeah, that's the moment that I knew the movie was going to change, and it did for me. Like, so everything up until that point, I was like, this is a bullshit movie, and I'm not having fun. And then that's where it started to spike up and down for me, where I'm like, I am liking, I'm not liking, I'm liking, I'm not liking, and it did that all the way to the end. So like, I would say probably like 70%. Where is that moment? Probably like just past the middle point, right?
Yeah.
And that's where I start to like shit. Like I like when he's throwing rocks at them in the dark. I love the moment when he jumps down from the cliff. I like when he comes out of the smoke. I know you guys both sort of like don't appreciate that as much as I think that I do, because like that was also the only jump scare that worked on me. Every other jump scare, I was like, I'm watching a movie. And then when he popped through the smoke, I was like, "Whoa, what the heck?" Didn't expect you to come through that smoke, Bigfoot. Gee whiz.
The horn honk at the very beginning of the movie actually made me go, "Hoop." So who knows?
Yeah. Anyway, the smoke. What's it called? Smoke squatch. We're gonna call him smoke squatch when he comes through the smoke. That was the thing that actually like jump scared me. And if I had to choose, I did my Home Alone, right? Yes. Also, Smoke Squatch is also a really good moment. If I had to give it a rating, I'd say this is a movie that got its legs pulverized off camera and nobody knew about it. And it almost got to the end, but it didn't quite make it.
Wow.
Because I mean, if it had its legs the last 15 minutes, if it had those legs, it could have ran. But the first fucking 45 minutes of the movie, his leg got totally pulverized by the rest of it. I want to believe.
Oh! Well, we made it through the whole film and our all of that stuff. Why don't we talk about our plugs and get the refrigerator out of here?
All right, let me just plug this in right here and.
Ben, my guy, my friend, my confidant. I don't know what that means. What do you have to plug this week, buddy?
You don't know what confidant means? Hold on.
I know what confidant means.
Okay,
I don't know what I mean by when I say my confidant.
Well, as always, it would just be me and my best bud Sandro doing the BS bargain bin. It's been kind of sporadic lately. Life has been getting in the way, but we've been trying to put out as much as we can. We've got a fun one coming up soon. It'll be Three Ninjas, which is a blast to talk about. Yeah, right. Pure nostalgia trip, and there's a lot of great things that I remembered about it that held up, and a lot of things I forgot that really didn't. I think that's probably why I forgot them. But yeah, no, we'll talk about anything horror, action, comedy, kind of keeping it to the 80s, 90s. Every now and then we'll go a little bit more recent. But you can find us on YouTube. Like, you can check us out like on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, like any of this. We have a lot of fun, and it's just two great friends, much like you two, just shooting the shit about movies that people have heard of and a lot that people haven't. And we've gotten some great feedback about some of the rarities we've talked about, and some movies we probably shouldn't have because they're just absolutely fucking terrible. But that makes for great conversation, like Exists. So yeah, find us on any of those podcatchers, and yeah, I hope you enjoy.
Well, thank you, Ben. How about you, Steve? What do you got cooking on the old back burner?
Oh, well, I'm the voice of Darth Theorist and the Three-Eyed Theorist, and we're launching Three-Eyed Theorist Discord this week. I'm doing a bunch of emojis for that. I don't know if people even know that I do the emojis for the Darth Theorist podcast, but we've also just reached 50,000 subscribers on Darth Theorist, which is pretty exciting. We're climbing. We're doing well. 10 million views. People have heard my voice say, "Let's explore the depths of it" in the video 10 million times. It's exciting. It's very cool. But also, episode 2 of Stanland dropped this week. I know I've been talking about it for a while, and I'm in that episode. I don't have a huge role, but I do have a role.
Madison sent me a video today of you in it. She was listening to it on the way to work, and
she also sent me.
This sounds like Steve.
She sent to me, "Is this you?" And I said, "This is me." It was me. I was doing a very provocative elf, if you know what I mean. So,
gay?
Hey, he wasn't gay. He's just horny. Horny doesn't mean gay.
It could.
But I'm also the person who says previously on Stanland or next time on Stanland at the end and beginning and end of the episodes. That's me as well. It's cool. It's very cool. It's gratifying. It feels nice, and I'm glad that people are enjoying it. The first episode was very funny, and I was really happy to hear myself in it, but at the same time hear myself interacting with some pretty cool celebrities, which is fun. So check it out, Stanland. It's all over the goddamn place. You can find it on anywhere that you're looking for podcasts and radio shows. And then other than that, I'm working on a game right now, the Tinyverse video game. We're going to be dropping a thing, I think, in September. So, watch out for that too.
Well, congratulations. I'm happy for you.
You seem like you're not. Why do you sound like you're jealous?
Yeah, really.
Yeah, Jason's like, "I wish I was you." What the heck?
I'm happy for you. No, that's great. Steve, thank you. Stanland is fucking fantastic if you haven't heard it yet, but I'd like to tell everybody about this show. It's called Hey, Did You See This One? You can find us each and every week on Instagram. Nope, that's not even what I wanted to say. I got confused because my guy Chang here said Ben was in my restaurant asking for 4 orders of some young guy and didn't pay. And then goes on to say, and wanted 2 orders of oh my goodness. Oh shit. Okay. Well, I'm glad that I
What's a social rule?
Yeah.
I'm gonna call out typos.
He say social role, like I forgot how to interact with people socially, because that seems like a weird racist man. Who is that?
Thank you, Chang. You can find this show each and every week here on YouTube and Facebook. Oh, okay. Well, what does this say? He wanted my boo sack noodles too. You're losing the plot, buddy.
Jason, are you writing these? What's going on?
You can see my hands.
Yeah,
have
well,
been
I
able
don't
to
know
this
about
whole
your
time.
feet. Maybe you're an accomplished toe typer.
I wish. I wish I was an accomplished anything. You can find this show each and every week right here on YouTube, right here on Twitch, right here on Facebook. We will always do our best to put on a great show for you, which we have done, I think, this week. And it comes to you at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Also, I don't know if you know this, but we crossed 500 subscribers on YouTube, which is a pretty big deal, which means that we released the Corporal Tunnel t-shirt print, which you can get on TeePublic. This is an original Bond villain that Steve created that we sort of talked out on the episode from Bond month last September. I think it was September. But you can get this now on a shirt. You can also get such shirts as also drawn by Stephen Waters, the Grimoire of Familiar Killers. This shirt's going to change, I think. I think now that Scream's going to be added to the mix come October. But you can also get Kill-Aid, the Kool-Aid man that kills you, which is a great tagline, brother. Also, Twinkerbell. You can get Zardos. Who, why, who, when, where occurs. Nope. And also the Howie Mandel effect. You can get that. Also, the Eldritch Millennial. That's going to be our next stretch goal. Once we get, let's say 600 followers. 600 followers, I would say. What do you think, Steve? 600 followers on YouTube. We'll release this. This is
been alive for over 1 billion years, so I think you should have at least 601 followers.
Well, that's reasonable, but I'm pretty sure this guy was born in 1984. So
500 is fine then.
Fantastic. In addition to that, look, here's the thing.
I deleted the thing because there's no space left on the overlays. I had to delete one, so I deleted the thing.
I've been wanting to do that. Here's the thing.
Here's the thing.
Oh God.
I wanted to
You need to delete that too. Delete it.
I want to let everybody know. I want to let everybody know that I am the announcer. I am the voice of Super Kick Wrestling here in Toronto. We have a show coming up August 22nd. It's going to be great. Our last show was tremendous. The show before that had Al Snow. We've been doing some great stuff over at Super Kick Wrestling forever, basically. And I facilitate all of that by letting you all know the names of the wrestlers louder than anybody else possibly could. So, at this time, well, let's see what Chang has to say about it.
I don't know if we need to go back to Chang. He seems like
keep saying what does this say?
He was so thirsty and wanted a big cock something or other. That's all I read.
What a big cock, extra large to drink. Oh my god. Next week, hopefully Chang comes back to enlighten us. But there is one question that needs to be asked each and every week. And Ben, I need you to just ask that question for me right now, please.
Ask it.
Hey, did you see this one?
Whoops. Kind of want to see what else Chang has to say.
I don't.
I opened a fortune cookie and it said, if he wanted my babies, OMG, so delicious. That's not funny, like objectively. What do you guys think?
No.
I mean, it could be if, he worked on the character, the backstory a little bit, made us understand why babies are important to either of them. But, whatever.
Beam up some Star Trek content with Live Long and Podcast. Tune in to X-Rated, the X-Men animated review show. Artistic interviews with graphic histories. A roundtable movie discussion with Hey, Did You See This One? And movie reviews with Hold Up, a movie podcast. And while you're at it, spin a few records with Eamon on Track. Watch us duke it out on trivial debates. And let's chat about TV with the Super Mater Brothers. It's all here on the United Federation of Podcasts.
Mr. President, they're not letting go of the list. What should we do?
We must kill Hulk Hogan.